But a couple of weeks ago in the province of Ontario, Canada, a new law was passed that if your child at the age of 8 comes home from school one day and your little boy decides that he's a girl and you refuse to let that child go to school in a dress, then the government has the right now to take that child out of your home. You see, folks, you got to understand, we're living in a perilous time. We're living in an age of lawlessness that the Scriptures have spoken about, a darkness that you and I never imagined would ever touch our generation. We read it in the Bible, and we knew it was going to come. We knew that there would be an unspeakable lawlessness and a great falling away in the last day before Christ returns. But most of us never thought we'd ever live to see a day like this. And if you think this is bad, without God intervening, folks, I fear for what kind of a generation we're leaving for our sons and daughters ahead of us. There's a concerted effort to demasculinize men, and it's worldwide now. That's why as men we have to stand up and be men again. We have to stand up and be counted.
We can't say we didn't tell you about this one. Guys, another one for you. First, as you know, the world went wild when the male romper, or the romp hymn, hit the fashion scene. Orders went through the roof. Well, today we present this ensemble, designed by LA-based brand Hologram. Social media is all googly-eyed over this. Can't be sure if those pieces are machine washable, but I checked, and some of the color and combo sizes are already sold out. So if you like what you saw, as early as next week, you won't need to pick a gender to apply for a Washington, D.C. driver's license. The state following in Oregon's footsteps. We actually told you about that last week. And just that thing again, just going back to your original article, you know, just because we disagree with something, should it be banned? Is our world really coming to a place of safe spaces? You know, isn't that what the Nazis did? They burned books because they didn't like what was written inside them.
Exactly right.
You know?
So
are we going to support fascist behaviour now? Is that what we're going to do in a bid to be PC?
I think that is exactly what's happening now.
So I have to ask you, speaking of countries divided by language and religion, about Canada, the country we lived for a while. There is a new law in Canada that apparently will criminalize the misuse of pronouns. You could go to jail for calling someone by a pronoun he, she, or whatever doesn't prefer. Am I misreading this law? Does it actually suggest that that could happen?
Yes, they've added gender identity to the Canadian Human Rights Act. And that actually is the case. For Canadians, now misgendering someone will risk you being embroiled either at a Human Rights Commission or in a criminal court. Absolutely extraordinary, this. What we're witnessing is an Orwellian assault on the most fundamental language, the language which defines the two sexes. And Canada has just put itself on the side of criminalizing that.
Wait, a fundamental language that corresponds with fundamental biology, all of which it is now mandatory to deny. It's you sort of wonder, like, why does no one stand up and say that?
I can't believe sometimes the level of insanity. You know, what's the things that have just happened You know, you look at the generation today and you're just like, I just don't know. I don't know whether to be angry or to have pity. I can't believe how successful the enemy's been at corrupting and deceiving this generation of people. I mean, they are completely out of their minds. And it's to the point where I don't even want to cover those kind of headlines anymore. I think at this point we get it, right? We get it that sexual immorality is probably even far worse than Sodom and Gomorrah at this point.
This is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil.
My brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of His might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1,
0. Family of the Most High Yah, welcome to another Sword of the Spirit audio broadcast teaching. We are your hosts, the servants of Yah. Psalms 141 and 4. Do not let my heart turn aside to any evil thing, to practice deeds and wickedness with men who practice wickedness. Blessed is everyone who fears Yah and walk in His ways. To each and every one of you who are joining us on this beautiful set-apart day of our Abba Yah and our approaching you New Year, hallelujah, we greet you in the name of our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach. With that being said, welcome to our 138th audio broadcast teaching. I'm going to bring in my co-host, Shabbat Shalom, sis.
Shabbat Shalom, sis. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful outside.
Yeah, it is. It is so nice.
Sun is shining. I don't know what the temperature is, however.
It's warm out there.
Okay.
I stepped outside for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's so warm. I mean, the sun is like shining through, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So it's just, the new year is coming, and I am looking forward just everything being new, starting over, everything being fresh, and just grateful, for Yah this week, how he moved for me. And you already know what I'm speaking of.
Yes.
Grateful for him just moving this week. He's, really cleared up a lot of things for me this week, and, has given me peace, and I'm grateful for that. Just say all praises be to Yah today.
Yes,
so
yes.
How was your week?
Hold on, Yah, for him moving in your situation. Well, I had a wonderful week. I can't complain, although it was long and drawn out and stressful with parent-teacher conference. I barely saw over one parent, but
that's sad though. That's unfortunately that's how it is.
Yes.
With our people, we don't come to our children's conferences.
So I felt like I was just sitting for 4 hours. Well, 4 hours on one day and 4 hours on another day, so a total of 8 hours. I could have been doing something else, but it was part of our requirement.
Obligation, yeah. Yeah, welcome to education, along with everything else that goes on with it. Because this week has been a very trying week for me at work, and Yah moves as he does for those that are his, and just grateful. So gonna get into our 100. Before we get into today's teaching, I just wanted to say we've been talking about doing some teachings, mini teachings for children. No more ranging anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, no more than that. And so the first teaching is going to be available on. I'm not in front of a calendar right now, but the first Friday and it's going to go out for that sundown right at the beginning of the Sabbath. That first Friday of April.
Okay.
And I believe is that April 1st? I believe is it April? No, is it? I think it is it April 1st. No, because April 30th is on that Friday, because that's the pagan Good Friday.
Yes, so it's
it'll be that following week. So is
April
it
the 6th? If it's a Friday.
Yeah, April. Okay, yeah, Friday, April 6th will be the first. Will be when the first teaching will go out. And it's going to be a treat for children. I'm not going to say anything about it, but it will go out. And so if you do have children, for those of you who regularly listen to our audio broadcast teaching, we will have our first teaching that will go out for children on Friday, April the 6th. So stay tuned for that, and because it's going to be a good one, and it's just blessing to be able to bless our babies, because they need something too, and they can't. They will not be able to handle my teaching. Too long and over the top. When I say over the top, meaning over their heads.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So we need, for children, and we need more of our children to do this, because we're training up our children. They can teach other babies who are growing up and learning. And children, we know that, just us being in education, that, they do learn from one another. So we're trying to, cover all of our bases with our listeners. And we don't know how often they will be, because with children, 1 minute they want to do something and the next minute they don't. And I don't want this to be a forced thing, because they still are going to school. And so, but, just something that's going to be done, as often as possible, and we'll make an announcement when it will be out. So you can just look for that. So,
okay.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No. I'm just looking forward to the teachings.
Yeah.
Because my grandchildren, they when you come on, they know where you coming on, and so they be look forward to lessons, and I share some of the YouTube videos with them that's out there, little Isaac and different things.
Oh yeah, my son loves little Isaac,
it will be good, just like you said, to hear our own children, teach, and teach their peers. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with today's 138th audio broadcast teaching, which is entitled The Seat of the Scornful, Endtime Scoffers. And so we know that the scriptures tells us, and clearly we are in the last days, and we were warned that scoffers would come in these times. And right now we know that they're not only come, they have not only come, but they have arrived full-fledged, shaking their fists at Yah and everything that is of Yah. I say this is like open season for the naysayers, those who mock, those who ridicule the Bible and everything that is written in the Bible, doubting everything of our Creator from creation and attributing it to, evolution and what they call the Big Bang Theory and just everything, saying we came from monkeys, all these types of different things. No one believes what is written in scriptures. And so we're witnessing an increase in those who not only scorn the righteous ones of Yah, but righteous living. And again, as I said, end-time scoffers, we're at an all-time high for those who are offended by the word. We're living at a time right now where you can barely say anything scripturally or correct someone because everyone is offended. Everyone is sensitive, and I say super sensitive to the lifestyles that they choose to live. And so just like the song, and I know we've all heard it before, Everybody Got Saved, Bobby Brown, My Prerogative. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
Okay, that, I can do what I want to do is my prerogative. I can live how I want to live. I can say what I want to say. I can feel what I want to feel, that whole thing with the lyrics. And that kind of came across my mind this morning as I was, I was done preparing the lesson, but it was like, this is something that needs to be brought out. And everyone, we're dancing to this. Yes, my prerogative. I can do what I want to do. I can live what I want to live. You can't tell me how I want to feel. Tell me why I got to live my life. I can live my life how I want to. But Psalms 1:1, which is the scriptural premise for today's teaching, says, "Blessed is a man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful." And so some of the questions we're going to ask today, and hopefully we will be able to answer them for you, is what does it mean to walk in the counsel of the ungodly? What does it mean to stand in the way of sinners? And more importantly, what does it mean to sit in the seat of the scornful? The Messiah told us that in these last days that many, he said there will be many that shall be offended. And so we're going to thoroughly break down Psalms 1:1. We're going to bring the true understanding to the scriptural verse because I was given a little bit more understanding to this verse than what I originally thought before I studied it. Okay? And it shows a progression in Psalms 1:1. So I'm going to take you through that. And then we're going to also reveal why you will never be able to change the mind of those who oppose the truth. And for today's State of the Body panel discussion, it's entitled The Prodigal Son. And this is a well-known parable about a father who rejoices over the return of his son who was lost. And so Prina is going to lead us in this discussion. She's going to tell us why The Father rejoiced over the return of his Son who was once lost but has now been found, and the significant meaning behind the return of the Son. And so I'm going to allow you to just go ahead and lead us into this discussion.
Okay, so before I begin, this scripture stood out, and it goes perfectly with the prodigal son. It says in Proverbs 15 and 21, it says, "Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding, walketh uprightly." And so in the prodigal son, for those of you that have read it, just to do a recap, it was a father and that Yeshua told a parable because they, of course, was the Pharisees was mocking. But anyway, Yeshua did a parable, and he, in Luke 15:11 and 32 through 32, there was a father, and he had two sons, and the two sons, one was righteous, and because he obeyed his father's command, and he served him as his father told him. And then there was another young man. He stepped away from, he walked away from home. He wanted his inheritance, and so he went away. And so when he went away, we know that he went into the world because he traveled to a faraway country, and it says in this chapter that he used the money that his father gave him from his inheritance foolishly. And eventually, in this parable, the young man experienced a famine because there's famine in the land, and he is brought to rememorization of how good he had it at home, and yes, and so he asked one of the citizens there to work for him in the field so that he can be able to take care of himself and during this famine and be able to be fed. But however, although he worked and fed the pigs, he wasn't given any food, and so he felt remorseful, and then he realized that he's been very foolish, and from that foolishness he had a change of mind, and he wanted to return back to his father, and so during the process of him returning back to his father, we see a picture of the first picture is him being separated from the Most High because he was because of his iniquities. But he's also, from what he's been taught, and we could tell that, he was once living righteously because, he returned back. So he had a soul-searching moment when he realized that he couldn't take care of himself when the famine hit the land, and so he eventually repented. And so he was lost because he was spiritually dead. And a lot of times they don't realize they're spiritually dead because they are so foolish in their ways, and so they don't see that they are wicked, and they don't see that they are living contrary to what their parents have taught them. But again, once they get bumped on the head, you begin to realize the foolish acts that you make, because, a lot of times, even with my children, some of the things that I've told them, and I allow them to bump their head, they see the foolishness, and then they'll come back and, apologize for their actions. And so we see that in this story that he returns to the father, and he asks his father to, forgive him of his sins, and that he has sinned against not only the Most High, but he has sinned against his father. And so his father embraced him, and accepted him back. And so in the result of it, his father threw a feast and had a party, and told his servants to get him the fine clothing, and he gave him a ring and some shoes, and they had a feast. But while the brother that was in the field, he was upset because he see a feast and he hears the music coming from the house and dancing, and so he goes and he inquire of a servant and asks him what's going on, and so he said that his brother has come back and has returned, and so he refuses to go in to this party. But then his father come out and asks him to come in. He begs him to come in, and he said, well, I obey you and I follow your rules, your commands, but you ain't throw me no party for me and my friends. And so, in essence, the father told him that, he was, once alive, and once dead, and now he's alive, and he was once lost, and now he's found. And so that scriptural verse is just showing how, when you have a change and a repentant heart, the Father is accepting to receive you back to him. And so he was rejoicing. And earlier on in the scripture, it was talking about if there were 99 sheep lost in if there were one sheep lost in the wilderness among the 99, won't you go back and get that one? And so Yeshua, this is a picture of Yeshua coming for his lost sheep and redeeming his lost sheep, and the rejoicing of those sinners that have repented. And and so I really love this story because we a lot of times we get upset. As the young man did, he got upset because his father showed favor to him, but he also told his son that, you have always been with me, and you have all that I have. And so, I just saw that a mirror of Yeshua, of us, like when we're doing the work for him, he's asking us to go get those lost sheep. And, we should be rejoicing when those sinners come back to and repent of their sins and return back to the Most High Yah.
Yeah, I really like this parable. A couple of points I wanted to make that stood out with what you said when you talked about the prodigal son, which means wasteful, to waste. And like you said, he had a change of mind, and we learned that means to repent. That he repented. He repented and returned back to his father. And Yah says that his word will not return void, but will do all that he has commanded it or spoken for it to do. And when you brought in, the parallel to Israel, being lost, those 10 lost sheep, that northern tribe, not because Judah, he did not divorce Judah, which Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, those are from the southern tribe. He did not divorce the southern house, but he divorced the northern house, which is Ephraim, or sometimes Ephraim is interchangeably also called Israel. And when you talk about, when you spoke about the father rejoicing over the return of the son who you said it was once dead but is now alive, that was once lost but has now been found, and the other brother who had always been righteous, who had always, was still with the father. He said, I always did what you told me to do. I was never disobedient. I never wasted, or squandered the things.
Yeah.
Pretty much he squandered what was given to him, just like when we talked about the parable of the talents. In Isaiah, 11 and 13, as you talked about the two brothers, and we talk about the two brothers, the house after the split of the two kingdoms, it is told to us in Isaiah that the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversary of Judah shall be cut off, and it says that Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Mm-hmm. He did not want to come out to celebrate the return, and we are looking forward, hallelujah, to the return of our lost sheep, those the northern kingdom, the 10 lost tribes of Israelite strangers, Ephraim, being returned back, because it is time for all of Israel to be redeemed. And he says Judah shall not vex Ephraim anymore, because Ephraim, they're coming back. Mm-hmm. They're coming back, and I just wanted to just make that point just to kind of go along with what you said. Because it's happening. Yeah. It is happening. It says in Jeremiah 3:18, it says, in those days the house of Judah will walk with the house of Israel, and they will come together from the land of the north to the land that I gave your fathers as an inheritance. And so the two families, the two houses, the two sticks, they will be one again. They will become one again. So this was just a wonderful parable. Yeah. I love this parable too. Hopefully it can encourage someone. If you have children that are lost, keep praying for your children. Don't ever stop praying for your children. It's a difference. Sometimes you have to love people from afar, but that doesn't mean you stop praying for them. I mean, I know there's certain times when y'all say don't even pray for these people because I'm done.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? He does say that. Well, look, don't even pray for this nation of people because I'm getting ready to put my hammer down on them. But the son that was lost, of course we should rejoice. And as Yah said, if you are faithful to confess your sins, because he said he was going back to tell his father, I'm sorry for what I've done. If you are faithful to confess your sins, and he will receive you. But you have to have a change of mind, like Prina was talking about. A change of mind means to repent. It doesn't mean to walk away from sin. That's what it means to repent, to change your mind. He changed his mind. He changed the way he thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he like, hey, I wasn't getting okay, I'm going out into the world. Then he got out in the world like, hey, the world ain't taking care of me like my father. Right. No one can take care of you like Yah. There's none that can take better care of you than Yah. Yeah. And so that's look, you got to decide whose team you're going to be on. This was awesome.
And what I loved about it is how he realized, like even us, when we realize the foolishness that we have made, and we changed our mind and started walking in the ways of Yah. I mean, and that's what really stood out, in this story. And Lamentations 3:40, which is one of my favorite scriptures, it says, let us search and try our ways and turn again to Yah. And so we see from the story that he searched his heart, one, and then he tried his ways, and he said, look, this is not, how I was treated in my father's house, and so, this is not the way I was living in my father's house, and so eventually he turned back to Yah, and so and this was just a beautiful parable, and this was just a reminder, from the situation that I'm going through, with my children, because, they're still out in the world, even though they know of Yah. And in my hopes of rejoicing, hopefully before it's too late, that they will get it together. And so this was just an encouragement to me, and in hopes that my children will return, and the words that I've spoken won't go void.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, the words you speaking are the words of Yah. So Yah's word will not return void. If they belong to him, then none can snatch them out. even though they may go out and stray, they will return. And so it won't be your word that won't go forward, but it'll be Yah's word that will not. His word will not return void. And so, and we'll be in agreement with you definitely. So, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I just, this was just really a hopeful, parable, not only for me, but just like you said, just knowing that our restoration is coming soon, and especially, with the fullness of the Gentiles coming in and just knowing that, we're going to be one again and no separation,
I've been thinking a lot about the kingdom.
It's just getting closer and closer, and I'm just getting, excited,
Yes.
Just
I've been praying
y'all moving
prayers. That I be kind of worthy. I think that was a prayer last night. That I be kind of worthy to see the kingdom, to be in the kingdom with the Messiah and with all my forefathers, and I, pray that I will be kind of worthy to escape all that's coming upon the earth. And just everything that's happening right now. I mean, I'm just kind of like getting this feeling like I'm just excited about the coming kingdom. Good news. I'm just like feeling like I'm feeling that, right now, because I'm just tired of this wickedness. It's very grieving, it
is. It's very, draining and grieving, and I guess that's, from your last lesson when you did on David, I was so emotionally taken back because of that, and you don't know sometimes why some lessons make you weep more than others, but it really just, like you said, you just know Yah is judgment is coming, and Yeshua is on his way, and it's just this grievousness, just all the lawlessness that's coming upon, that we see. It's just too much, it's too much. And so, yes, I can't wait, and that's why I'm just preparing now, just getting my house in order, constantly cleaning out, my heart, making sure that there's nothing that's not, going to cause me to stand before Yeshua where he'll say, "Depart from me, I never knew you." I don't want to hear those words. And so, the lesson is, just I just wanted to do this for the, not only for the parents that's going, to have those prodigal sons, or children, but just, also for, like you said, the redemption of the house of Israel and our restoration that is coming soon.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I know that lesson is somewhere around the corner.
Yes.
It will be redeemed because it won't go away, but it hasn't, like, there's other things that he's giving me to, for other things, and I'm like, okay, it's almost kind of like I know it's coming, but I'm just because I know you were saying something. I'm like, okay, I thought we was doing it on.
Because I thought it was right there. I thought it was right there, but you know what? You have to listen to Yah. And sometimes, like with the strange woman, he had to build you up with the lessons. So I know that it's coming. I can feel it.
That's a lesson that's coming, but as soon as I get ready to start working on it, it's like something else. And so I'm like, okay, I'll wait until I get the go. Okay, this is like, I think there's a couple other ones maybe in between that. But it's coming. I know that is coming. So, thank you, sis. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Definitely uplifting and encouraging. It is what is much needed at this time. So, thank you. Okay. So let's. We're gonna go ahead and get into our today's teaching. Just a quick recap of last week's 137th audio broadcast teaching. It was entitled David and Goliath, the End Time Messianic Prophecy. We're still talking about this. People are still talking about last week's teaching. To date, this is probably one of my favorite teachings, if not my most favorite out of all the teachings that I have done. There were so many prophecies upon prophecies upon prophecies upon revelations upon revelations. I mean, it was just so awesome. Brought poor Prina to tears. Prina, she loves all the teachings, but I never seen her so excited about a teaching. And this is just giving us hope and encouragement for the coming kingdom. It was very exciting for me. It took everything in me to teach this lesson, I'm not going to say in me, but the Ruach was really resting upon me to be able to pull this off, because this was not an easy teaching at all. And so if you want to truly be blessed, please go back and share this 137 audio broadcast teaching from last week via the Daughter of Yah channel. It's entitled David and Goliath, End-Time Messianic Prophecy. And so let's get into today's 138th audio broadcast teaching. Again, it is entitled The Seat of the Scornful, Endtime Scoffers. We're going to begin today's teaching with going straight to the scriptures. If you could just quickly go to 2 Peter chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 1 through 9. 2 Peter chapter 3, 1 through 9. It has been a long time since I have written to you, my beloved. But now I write to you this second epistle, in which, by reminder, I stir up your pure mind to remember the words that have been spoken before the set-apart prophets and the commandments given to us, the apostles of our Master and Savior. First, knowing this, that during the last days, scoffers will come walking around or walking according to their own lusts and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For from which time the fathers fell asleep, all things remain so from the beginning of creation. For this they willfully forget that the heavens were of old, and the earth rose up from the waters, and by means of water, by the word of Yah, through which the world, which then was being flooded by water, perished. But the heavens and the earth now, having been stored up by the same word, are being kept for fire to the day of judgment and destruction of wicked men. But let not this one thing be hidden from you, beloved, that one day with the Almighty is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Yah is not negligent concerning his promises. Some of your scriptures may say lacking concerning his promises, as some count negligence, but is patient towards us, not wishing that any would perish, but all come to repentance. And so, just going back over verse 9 again, it says Yah is not negligent or lacking concerning his promises, meaning what he has said will come to pass. But he says, look here, you may see me not moving or me not doing what you think I ought to do as, oh, well, he's not coming. Look how long it's been, and he still allowed this to go on. But he says, look, I'm being patient. I'm trying to show you grace. I'm giving you the opportunity to get it right. He's being forbearing with a world that doesn't deserve it, but he's doing it anyway. Why? Because he said he does not wish for any to perish, but for all to come to repentance, for all to have a change of mind, to change their thinking. When you change your thinking, then automatically you turn away from sin. And so, out of compassion for them, Yah sent warnings, but the people mocked. They mocked and they scoffed at the messengers of Yah, those that he sent, the prophets, all of them. I can name all of them. They mocked and scoffed at them. What did it say in 2 Peter and 3 and 4? They said, "Where is the promise of his coming? I thought you said he was coming." They scoffed at the messengers and they despised Yah's word. We saw this with Noah. Noah was mocked. They didn't want to listen to Noah when he was warning them for 120 years. He gave them enough time. They didn't want to do it. But I bet you when that boat went up and the flood came, I bet you they were trying to get on the boat then. But look, you were warned. We're being warned now just like they were in Noah's days. Same thing. Yeshua was mocked. They mocked him. They said, this is the king of the Jews. Huh? Oh, you the king. Oh, if you the king, if you the son of Yah, then save yourself. Get off of this stake. Get off of this stake and save yourself. Get off this tree. If you're really who you say you are, even like when we did the lesson with the thief on with the stake that was up there with Yeshua, one of them had a change of mind. The other one was still mocking him. Like, if you were him, why don't you get down and save yourself? And then get us down, too, while you at it. And then the one who had a change of mind said, don't you fear talking to the son of Yah? Don't you fear him? And so we see this just as Noah was mocked and all the prophets were mocked and Shaul, Apostle Paul was mocked, Yeshua was mocked. Do we think that we will be treated any less than our master? And so I'm just amazed at how deep into morality our culture is today. I'm amazed at how deep we are into being immoral. I'm amazed at the lack of the fear of Yah that mankind has towards him. I'm amazed at this. I mean, just think about it. When you think about it, man fears everything and everyone but Yah. Man fears everything and everyone but Yah, because even in the natural, there is a level of fear that men have towards, for example, your bosses at work. There's a level of fear that you have towards your boss. You know, you do what you're told. You come to work on time. And you don't slack off. For what? For fear of being written up, for fear of being demoted, and ultimately for fear of being fired and then being replaced. So there's a level of fear that we all have. And when I'm talking about fear, I'm talking about reverence. Recognizing the order on your job. Okay, and I'm talking about just in the earth right now, just recognizing the order. There's a level of fear that we have for law enforcement, police officers, state troopers. There's a level of fear. How many of you been driving? You know, nothing is wrong. You got a clean driving record. You got your tags. You got your license. You got your insurance, and then the police ride up behind you. Especially if you're a black man or woman in Babylon, you get nervous, and you have to think, wait a minute, what am I getting nervous for? You know why? There's a certain level of fear. There's a certain level of respect that you have for law enforcement, for judges, because you know that they have the power, if you don't obey, to lock you up and throw you in jail. They have the power to execute final judgment with where they send you off to death, to be electrocuted, whatever the case may be. I'm going to give you another example. We have a certain level of respect and fear for animals, even the animals in the wild. We have a level of respect for animals in the wild because we know if we ignore the signs that have been put up, or if we ignore what we know about getting too close to bears or lions or snakes or piranhas, we know we might get bit. We know we might get gnawed to death. Okay? So what do? We listen. We don't cross those boundaries. We don't get too close to those animals. If we see them, most of the time we're going to run, even pit bulls, because we want to be. Some of us running if we see a mouse or a spider. For that, we got a certain level of respect for a tiny spider. Why? Because we want to be safe. Because we want to live to see another day. So when we see things that are dangerous or appear to be dangerous or appear to put us in a place where we feel uncomfortable or unsafe or maybe dangerous, we stay away from it, right? We don't cross the boundaries. I'm going to give you another example. We don't cross boundaries when we go swimming. We don't go too deep into the ocean, to the Atlantic, to the Pacific, to the Indian Ocean, because we might drown. And because, again, it's not safe or would not be in our best interest to go out that far. They have a limit as far as you when you going out and swimming into these beaches and these oceans. There's a limit. There's a limit. You might get taken down under. So you listen and you follow the guidelines. You follow the safety rules when you go to go swimming or you're going out to these oceans. They tell you don't drink and drive when you're driving the boats on the ocean. So you follow them. Okay? You follow them. You follow the guidelines. And finally, my final example. We even have a very high level of respect for our doctors. When they prescribe something, we take their advice. We take their counsel without any questions asked most of the time. When your doctor gives you a plan, when your doctor tells you of the changes that you need to make in your life in order to live, don't you take heed and listen? Do you take more than what the doctor has prescribed? No, you don't. Why? Because your hope and your trust, for many of you are in your doctors, you hope and you trust and you lean on your doctors, every word, because you believe in what that doctor has told you. You believe in the training and the understanding that doctor has. You believe that if you don't, that whatever that physician has told you will come to pass. I hope you all see where I'm going with this. And so, but when it comes to our Abba Yah, creator of heaven and earth and all that is living and breathing, who spoke it into existence, everything he said, it was good and it was so. When he tells us what we must do and how we must live, and has given us the ultimate plan, the ultimate prescription for our health, the ultimate blueprint for everlasting life, what do? Or we question it. We don't believe it. We don't take heed to it. We deny it. We call him a liar to his face. Oh, well, I don't believe that the Bible meant that. Oh, that's not what God meant. Or God wouldn't send anyone to hell for that. Well, I know the Bible said to keep the 7-day Sabbath, and I know that the Sabbath is the fourth commandment, but I choose Sunday. Or, well, it's okay to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster now, because God loves everybody. No matter what we do, he loves us all. Because Jesus, he don't pay it all. So we can do what we want. Just like that song with Bobby Brown, my prerogative. I can do what I want to do. I can live how I want to live. I can feel how I want to feel. We respect everything from the water to the animals to the doctors. We respect any and everything except Yah. All of creation obeys Yah except man. And I am amazed at the lengths that people go to justify wickedness. And I know that our Master Yeshua, I know he warned us. I know he warned us that this time would come, but it's alarming to me. It's alarming to see the number of so-called believers that sit by and watch the wicked scoff and mock the laws of Yah and then do absolutely nothing. Don't say anything. Their silence they think is golden. They reproach our Abba Yah. When we look out at the world today, it looks like it's burning to the ground. And it seems like there is no hope coming. But Yah, he is raising up a remnant who will stand up in these end times. And then he's also raising up some heathens to bring judgment upon this earth. Because we most definitely are living in a time of judgment. He has shown it to me, and every lesson he has been given to me is showing me, is lining up what he gave to me in a dream. Judgment is coming. The church is fast asleep. They on NyQuil. And they're uninterested and unbothered by the yalliness that's going on. The yallisness. There's just Yah nowhere, and they're okay with it. The attitude that I see is not an attitude of remorse or repentance or an attitude of the fear of Yah. Though Babylon has said in her haughty heart, I sit as a queen. I am no widow, and I shall see no sorrow. But that's soon getting ready to change. He's already shown it to me. Wickedness is on a perpetual parade right now. It's a parade. Everywhere, every corner you turn. The ungodly think that they have the upper hand right now. We're able to see how vulgar and how vile this anti-Messiah spirit really is. And this is why Yah, he destroyed the previous earth during Noah's time. This is why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah during Lot's time. And in Genesis 6, Yah said that my spirit shall not always strive with man. He's not going to always contend and fight with you. And this is why, just as in the days of Noah and just in the days of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah, Yah is going, as we just got finished reading in 2 Peter 3, he is going to bring swift judgment against the earth. Just this time, it's going to be done by fire, not water. The end times are not only before us, they are here, now, in our face, saying, take that. We are living in the last days and where scoffers and mockers and unbelievers are parading their filth and their perversion before the faces of Yah's righteous ones. And it's becoming more and more difficult to not only live in Babylon, but in these end times. But I know that I have a job to do. We are witnessing the last days of this apostate church who are following after the strange woman. The anti-Messiah spirit is already in the earth. But while we're all looking for this man, meaning the man of sin, Satan he's been creeping up, preparing us. He's been preparing us for a lawless heart. He's been preparing us for the ushering in of this man. He's been preparing us. We looking for the man. He's already been preparing us. So when he ushered in, it's already set and done. He's already softened men's heart to sin. You see, the anti-Messiah, he's not going to just suddenly appear on the scene and then overwhelm all of us all at once. That's not how it happened. He's been doing it suddenly. It's been little by little. He's not going to try to influence people again all at once and then just show up on the scene. He's been subtly doing this. And by the time that the anti-Messiah, the man of sin, by the time he is revealed, he will have already prepared the hearts of the people to receive his coming. And they will receive him. The scripture says it. But most will say, oh, I would never receive him. Oh, I would never receive him. But you will. Many of you already have. And you know how? They will quickly, I'm telling you, when he show up on this, he's already here. He just hasn't been revealed because that spirit is being held back. The restrainer is holding this spirit, this man, from fully going ham on everybody. When he is finally revealed and the restrainer is no longer holding back, they will quickly, those of you who talking about, oh, not me, oh, yes, you too. You will quickly and openly receive the anti-Messiah, the man of sin, because you're already of his body. You're already in covenant with him. You're already of his mind. And you possess the anti-Messiah spirit, not the set-apart spirit of Yah. Paul said the mystery of iniquity is already at work. He's already moving. He's already taken his position. He's already come into power. This is why we're told, love not the world, neither the things of the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is what? Of the world. Quickly go to 2 Peter, because we were already on 2 Peter chapter 3. Go to 2 Peter chapter 2. We're going to read verses 1 through 10 and then 13 through 15. 2 Peter chapter 2, 1 through 10. But false prophets were also among the people, as also false teachers will be among you. who will secretly bring in destructive heresies and denying the master who has brought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. And many will follow their destructive ways. Some of your Bibles may say pernicious way. That means destructive ways, by whom the way of the truth will be evil spoken of. We see this happening right now. The truth is now called hate speech. Verse 3. And by covetousness, with well-turned words, they will use you for gain, for whom judgment from the very beginning has not ceased, and their destruction is always active. For if Yah did not spare sinning cherubs, which were the angels, but delivered them to chains of darkness, thrust down into Tartarus, having been kept to judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, the eighth, a herald of righteousness, bringing a flood on a world of wicked ones, and covering the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah with ashes, he condemned them with an overthrow, setting an example to men intending to live unholy lives. So he's saying right here, he condemned them with an overthrow. He said what happened, what you're reading here, what happened in the days of Noah and what Yah did also in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. He said that this was an example that he left for men who intended on living unset apart lives. This is an example to us today. Like, do you remember what happened when he says, remember Lot? Remember Sodom? Remember Noah? When he's telling you to remember, he wants you to remember something and recall to memory what happened during that time. And also delivered righteous Lot, who was tormented with the filthy conduct of the lawless. It says that Lot was tormented. I feel just like Lot. I feel like that some days I just sit in my room and just weep about the wickedness. It can be overwhelming because you're trying so hard to keep yourself set apart and to keep your children set apart and to keep your family set apart. And this world is just so wicked. Everywhere you turn, it's just wickedness upon wickedness upon wickedness. It says Lot was tormented with the filthy conduct of the lawless. I feel like we're being tormented. I feel like that now. For that righteous one living among them day after day in seeing and in hearing, his righteous soul was tormented with their lawless deeds. But Yah knows to deliver the righteous one out of temptation and to keep the unjust to be punished at the judgment day. And especially will he punish those who follow after the filthy lusts of the flesh and have no respect for authority. Self-willed and arrogant they are, and they do not tremble when they blaspheme. We go down to 13. Being about to receive the wages of unrighteousness, as they consider it a delightful thing to revel in the daytime. He says they are spots and blemishes among you, and sport themselves with their own pleasures, feasting along with you in idleness, having eyes that are full of adultery and never ceasing from sin, seducing unsettled souls, having a heart being filled with covetousness. They are cursed children who have forsaken the straight path and have gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. It says they're following the way of Balaam. We did a lesson on that a while back. Go Google that and go to our channel and about the way of Balaam. Because his way was contrary to Yah, to the way of Yah. This is describing perfectly. 2 Peter 2, chapter 2, and 2 Peter chapter 3 are describing perfectly. They both describe perfectly what is going on right now in this age. Again, Paul said the mystery of iniquity is already at work in the world. It was at work during his time. He says, but it is restrained only until he who restrains is taken out of the way. The man of sin is withheld from appearing in the world until a particular time. This is what this is saying. Because otherwise he would be going nuts right now. The man of sin is withheld from appearing in the world until a particular time. It is set for a specific time when he will no longer be restrained. This restraining force that is holding back this wickedness, preventing this man of sin from coming into the time of his power. He is going to be able to do it. He's just being restrained right now. And as long as a restrainer continues to hold back the evil, this evil, it can't come into its full position of power. But trust me, it wants to. He wants to. But once the restraint that has held back this mystery of iniquity, once this restraint has been removed, the man of sin is going to come forward with all power. And so when we speak of who is restraining or holding back the man of sin or lawlessness, some say that it's the Ruach that is holding this man of sin back, and then others have said that it's Michael, the archangel, who is the protector of Israel. Okay? Whoever it is, and that's something maybe I will look into as a upcoming lesson. But when Yah withdraws his restraint and the lie becomes stronger than the truth for those who love lies, until you all are deceived, like he said in Revelation 12:9, Satan has deceived the whole world. When Yah withdraws his restraint, once the restraint is removed, evil will no longer be in check and will increase like we've never seen it. If you was listening to the clip at the beginning, I was sitting there like, wow. If you have a child that come home as an 8-year-old boy and say, I want to be a girl, and you as a parent refuse to allow that child to go to school in a dress, they can come and take your child out your home. Are you kidding me? This is what I'm talking about. Their evil will no longer be in check once Yah withdraws his restraint from this world. Daniel 10:21 says, but I tell you what is inscribed in the book of truth. There is no one who holds with me or strengthens himself against these hostile spirits, these hostile spirit forces, except Michael, your prince. He said Michael is your prince. He's the prince over Israel. He is the angel that has been assigned to Israel. Daniel said, there is no one who holds with me, who strengthens himself against these hostile spirit forces, except Michael. When you read Revelation chapter 7, go to Revelation 7. Revelation 7, 1-4 says, and after these things I saw 4 cherubs, 4 angels, standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. They're holding the winds back, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on every tree. And I saw another cherub coming up from the rising of the sun, and having a seal of the living Yah, and he cried with a great voice to the 4 cherubs, to whom it was given to them to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of Yah on their foreheads, until we have sealed the servants of Yah on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those having been sealed, 144,000 having been sealed out of every tribe of the sons of Israel. So we see Michael is holding the spirit forces. He is the one that is the prince and is guarding and protecting Israel. These angels are the ones that's holding back the winds until the servants of Yah are being sealed. What are they being sealed with? Go to Ephesians 4:30. Ephesians 4:30 says, do not grieve the set-apart spirit of Yah. I'm going to say this again. Do not grieve the set-apart spirit of Yah, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. I'm going to say this again, Ephesians 4:30. And do not grieve the set-apart spirit of Yah, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. You are sealed for the day of redemption by the set-apart spirit of Yah. He told the winds in Revelation 7:1-4, hold back. Hold them back until we seal the servants of Yah on their foreheads. So this is why we're told, don't grieve the set-apart spirit of Yah. Don't grieve the set-apart spirit. Because it is by his set-apart spirit, who is wisdom, as we learned last week, that you are sealed for the day of redemption. I want to read a precept. Ephesians 1:13 says, and in him you were sealed with the promised set-apart spirit, having heard and believed the word of truth, the good news of your salvation. I'm going to say this again. Ephesians 1:13. And in him you were sealed with the promised set-apart spirit, having heard and believed the word of truth, the good news of your salvation. So we have another witness. This too, of just giving you that we are sealed with the promised set-apart spirit. We are sealed by the set-apart spirit of Yah for the day of redemption. Hebrews 10:29. How much more severely do you think one deserves to be punished who has trampled on the Son of Yah, profaning the blood of the covenant that sanctify him and insulting the spirit of grace? You insult the spirit of grace when you continue to keep habitually sinning. He says, you deserve to be punished. How much more punishment do you think you deserve? When you profane the blood of the covenant of him who sanctified you, you insult the spirit of grace. You are insulting the grace, the time that he has given to you to get it right. As we read at the beginning of this teaching, that he is slow to responding, and he is patient, because he does not wish that any would perish, but they will all, what? Come to repentance. So you insult the grace that he gives you, when instead of using it as a time to get yourself together and to make your wrongs right and to confess your sins and to turn away or to change your thinking and to repent, you want to use this time to indulge in more sin? Really? That's what you do with the time? You want to waste it like the prodigal son instead of returning? Ezekiel 9:4 says, go throughout the city of Jerusalem and put a mark on the forehead of those who grieve and lament over all of the detestable or abominable things that are being done in it. He said, go throughout the city of Jerusalem. He says, put a mark on the forehead of those who are grieving, those who are sighing, those who are lamenting and crying over all of the detestable and all of the abominable things that are being done. He says, go mark them on their foreheads. For those who are grieved at the wickedness, those who are being tormented, like it says Lot was, who were being tormented because of all the things that they are witnessing. We're going to listen to a quick audio clip, and then we will be right back.
And here's the thing. When you start making perversion okay, and you start telling people that they can identify with whatever they want, they can be a 6-year-old girl if they want, where do you think that's eventually going to lead? Check out this from naturalnews.com. The latest insanity of the deranged left. Alleged child rapist says he self-identifies as a 9-year-old, so it's not really rape. This is the perversion and this filth. We're talking about a 38-year-old man from Chicago who apparently molested several girls. But it's okay because he identifies as a 9-year-old. He's trans age. Along that same topic, headlines from endtimesheadlines.org, more teens are identifying as transgender. Far more U.S. teens than previously thought are transgender or identify themselves using other non-traditional gender terms, with many rejecting the idea that a girl and a boy are the only options. New research suggests, well, of course, this has been propagated and shoved down their throats. Of course, this is where the culture is going to go. We've embraced perversion, and now, we're within another decade, folks, if the Lord tarries that long, there'll be so much confusion that the trajectory of the path that we're heading on it's horrifying and terrifying to think where this leads in a few years. And people are just think this is great. And like I said, scoffers will come in the last day and they will be willfully ignorant. That Ken Hovind always says that means dumb on purpose about these things and about the coming judgment. Listen to this. A court orders dad to start treating his 11... This is so stupid. Court orders dad to start treating his 11-year-old daughter as a boy. This is just... this is where we're at. This exactly like Sodom and Gomorrah. I've covered Sodom and Gomorrah with you guys out of the book of Jasher. Two major things going on there. Number one, in just awful sexual immorality of every kind, and justice not going forth, meaning that the judges were always ruling in favor of wickedness and never in favor of righteousness. United States of America is a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah, maybe worse, because we now have this thing called video and pornography in the Internet, which the United States is responsible for about 80% of. Most of the world's pornography that's consumed comes from the United States. This has become a place of every foul spirit, a dwelling place of everything wicked and awful. That's just the reality, folks. People get upset. Oh, that's so unpatriotic. I'm not interested in whether or not you think I'm a patriot. What I'm interested in is the truth. Judgment is coming, folks. Harsh judgment is coming.
Okay, just listen to this. Quickly go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 4. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 4, because I want to read this particular scripture, because this really stood out. 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 through 4 reads, "But know this, that in the last days disastrous times will be upon us. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, braggarts, arrogant, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, wicked, without natural feeling, addicted to lust, slanderers, without self-control, savages, haters of good, traitors, hasty, boasters, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Yah, having a form of righteousness, but denying the power of it. Even turning away," he says, "even turn away from these." So we are told to turn away from people who are living like this, those who are living in lust, those who are slanderers, those who have no self-control, those who are living a wicked life, those who are being disobedient to their parents, blasphemers, those who are arrogant, those who love money, those who love pleasures, boasters, and those who hate everything that's good. He says, turn away from men or women, doesn't matter, mother, father, sister, brother, uncles, cousins, children. He says, turn away. He didn't say, oh, well, only turn away if they're not your relatives. He said, turn away from these. Turn away. Because at this point now, your family are those who do the will of Yah. We are living in a time that we're living in a time that Yeshua warned us about. We're living in it. That's why I don't understand how someone can say that the Bible is a lie, that it's a fairy tale, when everything that's in it is coming true. We're living in a time where the wicked want to be let loose to do that which they ought not do. They don't want any restrictions. They want to be their own judges of what is right and wrong. When you look at the book of Judah or the book of Jude, some of yours may say Judah. I have the Hebrew Roots Bible, so it says Judah, but I think in the other version it's Jude. When you look in the book of Jude, it tells us, as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them, it says they commit fornication and go after strange flesh. And while defiling their flesh, it says that they despise authority and speak evil of the high esteem of Yah. It tells you, just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them, it said all they did was commit fornication. They went after strange flesh, that's a strange woman, and then while defiling their flesh, they despise authority and speak evil of the high esteem of Yah. Is this not what we see going on right now? Prophecy is being fulfilled daily. And as true believers who stand up and take a stand for righteousness, we're being vilified, as I said earlier. We're being vilified in the media as haters. We're being vilified as haters because we won't continue, because we refuse to continue to take their barrage of insults that they throw at our Abba Yah. We're like David, as we learned in last week's lesson in David and Goliath. We're like David. We're standing up to fight the giants that speak a reproach and blaspheme our Almighty One, the God of Israel. This is what David did. He stood up. Who is this, he says, that is reproaching the Almighty One of Israel? He said, I'll fight him. He said, you might come with a sword, but I come in the name of Yah. So today's scriptural focus, scripture is coming from Psalms 101. Blessed is the man that does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. And so from this particular scriptural verse in Psalms 101, if you can quickly go there, Psalms 101, it says that you are blessed if you do not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. You are blessed if you do not stand in the way of sinners. And you are blessed if you do not sit in the seat of the scornful. So the three phrases in the verse that I just read, it focuses on three main points. 1, the counsel of the ungodly. 2, the way of sinners. You might want to write this down because we're going to break down each one of these phrases. I'm going to say it again. Psalms 101 focuses on three main points. The first one is the counsel of the ungodly. 2, the way of sinners. And 3, the seat of the scornful. And so the words in this particular, not the words, but the phrases in Psalms 101 leaves us with three questions that need to be answered. First, what is the counsel of the ungodly? What is the way of sinners? And what is the seat of the scornful? So the three questions again is, what is the counsel of the ungodly? What is the way of sinners? And what is the seat of the scornful? Because clearly, when just looking at this scriptural verse, Psalms 101, clearly we are witnessing a progression from innocence to straight foolishness. When you look at Psalms 1 and 1, you can see that there's a progression. It starts off with appearing innocent, and then it goes into just completely losing yourself. Because it paints a picture from just listening to the ungodly counsel to supporting and being in agreement with the ungodly and the wicked, to full-fledged hanging out with them, participating and taking part in what they do, a.k.a. becoming one with them, making a covenant with death. So let's start off with the first one, the counsel of the ungodly. So according to the Blue Letter Bible, in Strong Hebrew 6098, it says that it means advice, and I'm looking up counsel, okay? Counsel means advice, purpose. Thesource.com says for counsel, advice, same thing, guidance, consultation, direction, and instruction. So it's telling you that the counsel of the ungodly is talking about their advice, their purpose, the guidance, the consultation, the direction, and the instruction. Deuteronomy 32 and 28 says, "For they are a nation void of counsel, neither there is no understanding in them." When you read Proverbs, and I'm just going to quickly go here. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6 says, "Trust in Yah with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yah and depart from evil." And so we know that, the question is, whose counsel do you act on? Because we know that counsel, we just learned, means advice, is purpose, is the guidance, is consultation, is direction or instruction. And Yah said Israel that we are a nation void of counsel. We are a nation that's void of instruction, void of direction. And so the question is, whose counsel do you act on? And I'm talking to everyone who's listening. Whose counsel do you act on? Whose advice do you act on? Whose instruction or direction do you act on? Who do you consult with when it comes to making decisions in your life? Whose authority do you obey? Yah's or man? Yah's unchanging word or the world opinions that changes every 5 seconds? As believers, we should be mindful of where and who we take counsel from. Because at the end of the day, the final and the only authority is Yah, and it should come from his word. And sadly, this world's authority, it doesn't come from Yah. They, again, as I said earlier, they want to be their own judge for what is right and wrong. David, our forefather David, King David, he understood the entire counsel of Yah. You see it all throughout the Psalms. In Psalms 33, he wrote, "Yah brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He frustrates the plans of the people. The counsel of Yah stands forever. The plans of his heart are to all generations." So now we know what the counsel of the ungodly is. Let's go to stand in the way of sinners. I want to first deal with stand, because he says, "Blessed are you if you do not stand in the way of sinners." That doesn't mean I see a sinner coming, so let me get out of his way and he can just go ahead and sin. No, that's not what it means. That doesn't mean, oh, well, you can go ahead and do what you want to do. You want to sin, keep sinning, well, let me move out the way and let you do what you do. No. Because I thought at first that's what it meant. Don't stand in the way of somebody who wants to sin. Let them sin. If that's what they want to do, let them do it. No. To stand in the way of sinners. Blue Letter Bible for stand. Hebrews 5:979 means to remain, to endure, to attend upon, to come on the scene, to continue to abide, to confirm, to stand, or to take one stand with. This means that you are in agreement with the sinner. It's the exact opposite of what I thought. I used to think, blessed is he who doesn't stand in the way of the sinner, meaning you know they want to sin, so just go ahead and move out the way. Don't even stand in their way. Let them do what they want. No, that's not what he means. To stand in the way of a sinner means to endure them, to tolerate them, to attend to them, to continue to abide and hang out with them, to confirm them, to stand, to take one stand. This means that you are in agreement with them. And not only with what they believe, but also with what they do. Thesource.com says, for stand, it means it's an attitude. It's the way you think. It's your beliefs. It's the stance. It's the view, a.k.a. your thinking, your thoughts. They take a stand with sinners and support unrighteousness. This is the reason why I unfriended a few years ago so many people in 2015 when Obama came out with that same-sex marriage, and I'm seeing all these people, 1 minute they posting scriptures, 1 minute they're, I'm thinking they're one way, and the next thing I know, they're changed their profile pictures to rainbow. I was grieved over that. That was tormenting my eyes to see it, and then putting up some loved one. I was disgusted by it, and I unfriended every last one of them because they were reproaching and mocking and scorning my Abba Yah, and I didn't appreciate it. I felt like David at that moment. They showed me where the position that they took. They showed me their attitude. They showed me their stance and their view or how they thought. They took a stand with sinners and supported unrighteousness, even though they themselves were not homosexuals. So they stood in the way of sinners. He says, blessed are you when you do not stand in the way of sinners. They stand in the way of sinners, meaning they confirm it. They're in agreement with it. Whether they do it or not, they believe it's okay. That's their stance. That's the way they view it. I see it. I know a lot of people say, well, it don't bother me. Whatever somebody else want to do, that's on them. I don't look at it that way. That's not my stance. Proverbs 28:4 says, those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law, they strive with them. They're going to strive with us. They're going to fight with us, but they're going to praise the wicked. Whether they say, oh, you hate. They call us haters. This is the reason why they put up love one and desecrate Yah's covenant symbol, where I can't even look at it anymore and think about Abba Yah. Every time I think about it now, I'm thinking of homosexuality. This is what they've done. It was his promise that he would never destroy the earth again by water like he did in the day of Noah. They've taken his sign. They are blaspheming him. They are reproaching him, just like the giant did. They're testing Yah. They're testing him. And that's the reason why David stood up and fought that giant. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law, we are those who keep the law. They strive with us. They fight with us. Y'all said my spirit shall not strive with men forever. I'm not getting ready to strive with you. I'm not getting ready to fight with you and contend with you forever. He said, I'm giving you grace. So to stand means to endure with them, to tolerate, to remain among them, to your thought, your belief and your stance and your viewpoint, your whole attitude, your way of thinking is unrighteous. That's what it means to stand in the way of sinners. When we think, let's just take that just concentrate on the way of sinners. We know what it means to stand. Okay? we know, let's think about when we talk about the way of sinners. When we think about the way of sinners, let's remember our lesson that we had a while back about the way of Yah. Remember the lesson that we did about the way of Yah? So my question to my listeners, especially those of you who heard that particular broadcast, who is the way of Yah? Who is the way of Yah? We know that the way of Yah is Yeshua. Yeshua is the way of Yah. The way is the road, the path, the journey, the course of life. Yeshua said, follow me. So the way of sinners is the road or the path or the course of life that is in opposition to He who is life, Yeshua, a.k.a. So, in essence, it's a way or a path that leads to destruction, because anyone who does not have Yeshua is on the way or the road to destruction. He who does not follow the way of Yah does not have the Father, and he who does not have the way, the truth, and the life, who is Yeshua, who is the Word, does not have the Father, because he says no man comes to the Father but through me. And if you try to come another way, you are a robber and a thief. So to stand in the way of the sinner is to remain, to endure, to confirm. You stand with them. You have the same viewpoints. Your thinking is the same of them. Your thinking is in opposition. You have taken a stance that you support everything that is not the way of Yah. That's what it means, because you support it, you endure it, you tolerate it. So we're seeing a progression. We start out with the counsel. Blessed is he who does not take heed to the counsel of the ungodly. So it starts off with listening to the advice. Just first of all, it's starting off innocent, okay? You're just listening. You know, you're listening to the advice. You're listening to their direction and instruction. And then it's going from listening to now they don't change your thinking. Staying in the way of the sinners, your thinking has changed. Now, didn't we talk about this before? In the bring every thought to captivity? Because when you stop meditating and thinking on the things that are of Yah, to go listen to what a false prophet or a strange woman or someone else has to say, now your brain is going to stop thinking to hear what your mouth has to say or what someone else is saying, because you're listening to seducing spirits. You're listening to those who are in opposition to truth. You're taking counsel from the ungodly. You're enduring it. You're listening to it. Now, they don't change the way you think. Now you stand in the way of the sinners. Now you like, yeah, you know what? I thought, you're right. Homosexual, we are love wins. Love is love. Now you over here sounding like them. As I said earlier, Psalms 1:1 is about a progression from innocent to straight, full-fledged sin. You went from listening to them, listening the counsel of the ungodly. Now you stand in the way of sinners. You stand with them. This is your stance. This is what you believe. Now you think this. They have changed your thoughts. Now you sit in the seat of the scornful. This is the final progression in Psalms 1:1. Let's go now for the seat of the scornful. The Blue Letter Bible for seat. Okay? The assembly. The dwelling place. Seat. sitting, those that are sitting, company, those you are in company, that you are in company with, those where you assembly. It's a location. It's a population of people. This is what it means for seat in Blue Letter Bible. TheSource.com said it's a building, it's a place where one resides, it's a dwelling, a habitat, a home, a sanctuary, saying the same thing that Blue Letter Bible and Strong Hebrews for seat. It's an assembly. It's a dwelling place. It's a company or a population of people. It's a place where you reside. It's become your home. It's your sanctuary. The seat of the scornful. Scornful. Strong Hebrews 3:8-7, according to the Blue Letter Bible, means mocker. You now dwell, because you're in the seat of the scornful, you now sit with those who mock Yah. You go to the buildings, the whorehouse, strange woman, every Sunday. And some of you are going to Israelite communities where they're scoffing and mocking Yah. This has become your home, your sanctuary. These are the population of people. You are now sitting and assembling and companying and sojourning and living among and residing among those who scorn Yah, a.k.a. mock him. It says scoff. Scornful means mocker, scoff, laughing, acting as a scorner, showing oneself as a mocker. This is Blue Letter Bible. To speak barbarously. Barbarously, it says, for example, in a foreign tongue, meaning it's strange, as in a strange woman, from those who speak a foreign language appearing, to those who are ignorant of it, as if they babble. Babylon, the whore. This is in Blue Letter Bible. To speak barbarously. It says, for example, it says, in a foreign tongue, from those who speak a foreign language appearing, to those who are ignorant. Those who are following the strange woman, as we have been learning for the past 2 or 3 weeks, they are ignorant. They're drunk with the wine and don't even know it. Foreign, strange woman. Barbarously, when I looked this up, it said heartless. Isn't the whore, the strange woman, heartless? It says merciless, showing no mercy. Hard-hearted, stiff-necked, relentless. They just will not stop. Just continues to mock and scoff with this strange woman without ceasing. It says demonically. It says cold-blooded, remorseless, having no remorse, and this is unrelenting. They won't repent. They won't stop. This is all for scornful. Heartless, cold-blooded, relentless, demonic, remorseless, showing no remorse, mocking. This is what they do when they have these parades. All these people who brought the Baphomet and had a tour for the Baphomet statue, sitting up 9-10 feet, going to different cities. They brought that city here. They brought that mockery of the Baphomet here. Was it? I think it was in downtown Detroit somewhere. I think it was at Burt's Marketplace. Because the video, you can find it. It went everywhere. New York, Denver, just had a tour. And this is supposed to be a quote-unquote Christian nation. In God we trust, they say. Their God, they're not telling you, is Satan. Mocker, scornful, a mocker, to scoff, to speak barbarously, meaning in a foreign tongue, who speaks a foreign language, appearing to those who are ignorant. To be barbarously, it means heartless, showing no mercy, hard-hearted, relentless, demonically cold-blooded, remorseless, and unrelenting. Thesaurus.com says for scornful, it means to sneer, to be disdainful, to be arrogant, to scoff, to be high and mighty, meaning it says to be proud. They're proud of this same-sex marriage. They're proud of legalizing marijuana for recreational use now. They're proud of all of the abominable laws that they have made, especially under the Obama administration. They're proud of the abortions, of all the innocent babies that they kill. They're proud of every unrighteous act. They're proud of this transgender LGBT agenda. They're proud of it all, the male romper, all of this foolishness. It's just every time. That's why I don't even watch TV anymore. Because I'm tired of looking at the foolishness. Now they got some TV show on talking about Lucifer. And people are watching it. I'm like, what in the shenanigans is going on in here? I feel like I am in the Twilight Zone. Literally. I'm like the man said, America has lost its mind. They have lost their minds. It says to be proud, to despise, meaning they hate Yah and to reject. So when you're scoffing Yah, you're mocking him, you're scoffing him, when you're scorning Yah, to be scornful means to mock, to scoff at. That's someone shaking their fists at him. To be heartless, to be relentless. It says to be demonic, cold-blooded, having no remorse, being unrelenting, sneering at him, snickering, being arrogant, proud, high and mighty, despising him, and rejecting him. These are all the things that he hates. So when you sit in the seat of the scornful, you are assembling and dwelling and remaining in the company of and sojourning in the population and places and buildings and habitats where people hate Yah, where they show no mercy, where they're heartless, they are laughing at him. These are the people you're hanging out with. These are the people you're going to your assemblies with. These are the people that are in your dwelling place. These are the people you living with, who are scoffing Yah. He says you will not be blessed when you dwell with people who sit in the seat of the scornful. You will not have any peace as long as you have people that sit in the seat of scornful and you're assembling with them. You're going to their churches and their buildings. You're hanging out with them. They're in your homes. They're in your sanctuary. We are the sanctuary that the Ruach dwells. You're assembling with them. You're in the company of people who hate Yah. That's what this pretty much is saying. So do you see the progression of Psalms 1 and 1? First, you start out where it's innocent. Okay, you're listening to them. Now you don't went from listening to them and taking their advice and counsel. Now you are now standing with the ungodly. You've taken a stance with them. You're in agreement with them. You believe what they believe now, whether you're doing it or not. You're standing in the way of the sinners. Your stance is the way of those who are lawless. And now you're just full-fledged, all in now. You're dwelling among them. You're living with them. You're eating with them. You're hanging out with them. You're assembling and going to churches, whatever the case may be. You're with them. Y'all say you're not going to be blessed with any of these three. You're not going to. You're not going to have peace until you remove yourself from those who listen and take counsel from the ungodly, those who stand in the way of sinners and those who sit in the seat of the scornful. Yah says you will not be blessed until you remove yourself from these. He says don't have company with people such as these, because they're proud, they reject him, they despise him. And sometimes it's hard for us to accept that because it seems harsh. No, this is the choice that they make. James 4:4, Yah says, you adulterers and adulteresses, don't you know that friendship with the world is enmity with Yah? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of those who are in the world makes himself an enemy to Yah. Another version says, you people aren't faithful to Yah. Don't you know if you love the world, you are Yah's enemies? And if you decide to be a friend of the world, then you make yourself an enemy of Yah. These are those who sit in the seat of the scornful. These are those who stand in the way of sinners and who take ungodly counsel. Yah says in another version, unfaithful people, don't you know that to be the world's friend mean to be Yah's enemies? If you want to be the world's friends, then you make yourself Yah's enemy. Go to Romans chapter 1. We're going to read verse 18 through 32. Romans 1:18 through 32. Romans 1:18, the wrath of Yah is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth of their wickedness. For what may have been known about Yah is plain to them, because Yah has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, Yah's invisible qualities, his eternal power and nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, so that men are without excuse. So he said he's revealed himself to them. He said they're going to be without excuse. He says in verse 21, for although they knew Yah, they neither glorified him as Yah nor gave thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking and darkened in their foolish hearts. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal Yah for image of mortal men and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore Yah gave them up in the desires of their hearts to the impurity for the dishonoring of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of Yah for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever worthy of praise, so be it. Verse 26, for this reason, Yah gave them over to dishonorable pleasures. Now, here is the part where it talks about homosexuality. And I hear people talking about this and not talking about homosexuality. Then what is it talking about? For even their women exchange natural relations for unnatural ones. Likewise, the men abandoned their natural relationships with women and burned with lust towards one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Now, how are you going to look at this and talk about this ain't talking about homosexuality? It just got finished saying that the women exchange unnatural relationships, and that the men, they abandon what was natural for a man to be attracted to a woman. It says that they abandoned their natural relation with women. It says, and they burned towards their lust towards one another. Well, what is that? He says that the men burned with lust for one another. It says men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Furthermore, since they did not see fit to acknowledge Yah, Yah gave them up to a depraved mind to do what should not be done. He said, forget it. Now he said, look, this is what you want here. Have it. He said, they have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and hatred. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, Yah haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. All of these things that I just got finished reading were the same definition for scornful. He's saying that they're scornful. This is what he's saying. although they knew Yah's righteous decree that those who do such things are worthy of death. He says that they are worthy of death. They not only continue to do these things, not only those who do them, he said, but what? Also those who approve of those who practice them. Did we just not get finished reading? For those who are scorners, who stand in the way of the sinners? He just described for you right here in Romans chapter 1, verse 32. He said that those that do such things are worthy of death. They not only continue to do these things, not only those who continue to do them, he said, but also those who approve of those who practice them. So he doesn't care if you're a homosexual or not. If you approve of somebody else being a homosexual, if you think that is no big deal, that is okay, like the man said, you trans age, if you don't see anything wrong with someone committing adultery, you don't see anything wrong with someone fornicating, if you don't see anything wrong with someone continuing to take ungodly counsel, continuing to stand in the way of sinners, Yah is saying, what did he just tell you in his word in Romans 1 and 32? What did he just say? We just got finished reading in Romans 1 and 32. He said not only those who do these things that were just mentioned, he said, but also those who approve of them, who practice them. This is standing in the way of sinners. You standing in the way of sinners. You will not. Those who do such things are scorners. You're a scorner. Why? Because you stand in the way of sinners. You approve of it. To stand means to endure, to approve of it, to accept it, to agree. We just got finished doing the study. So those who do such things are not only scorners who stand in the way of sinners, but they will not submit to Yah's counsel. They will not submit to Yah's instruction, which is the Torah. They want to go and seek ungodly counsel, ungodly counsel. When we go back to the Psalms 37 desires of your heart lesson, remember that teaching that we did a few weeks back? We're going to listen to a short clip from that. For those of you who recall what you learned from that teaching, what were the desires of Habakkuk and Job and Jeremiah and our forefather David? Were there desires for money? Were there desires for carnal, earthly, material possessions? We're talking about the cries of Yah's servant. What have we been reading today? About Lot and how he was tormented because of all of the wickedness that he was looking at. And the wickedness, he had to dwell with all these wicked men in Sodom and Gomorrah. Yah took him out. He took him out of the way because he destroyed this place. Noah was grieved and tormented because of all of those who stood in the way of the sinners and who sat in the seat of the scornful, those who scorn Yah. They were grieved. They had a desire. What was their desire? We're going to listen to this brief audio clip, and then we're going to come back. See that. Everything seemed like it's fun up until the time when you have to leave this earth and you have to stand before him, the judge. I'm going to read a couple of scriptures. Job 21:7. Job said, why do the wicked still live? Why do they continue on and also become very powerful? Even Job said this. Look, why do the wicked still live? Why do they get to live and continue on and become powerful? Seems like the wicked people never die. It's almost kind of like those students you have in the class. It just seems like the students who cut up, it seems like they just never absent. You'd be like, why don't they? And they always on time, okay? They're never absent. and they're the last ones to get picked up. Isn't it seem that way? And you'll be like, dang, if I could just have one day where they would just be absent. Job said, why do the wicked still live and continue on becoming powerful? Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 12:1, why has the way of the wicked prospered? Why are all those who deal in treachery at ease? Why are they always at ease? It seems like they always at peace. They always prospering. Good things always happen to them. We said, what is this? So we see David ask this question. We see Job ask this question. We see Jeremiah ask this question. This was a question David asked in Psalms, and then we go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 1:13. This is one of Prina's favorite verses. Habakkuk, the prophet Habakkuk. He said, your eyes are too pure to approve evil, to look on evil. He says, you cannot look on wickedness with favor. Then Habakkuk asked, why do you look with favor on those who deal treacherously? Why are they still having favor? And they're dealing treacherously. He said, why are you silent, Yah, when the wicked are swallowing up those that are righteous than they are? Why are you allowing the wicked to persecute and to oppress and to afflict and to do your people who are righteous wrong? This is what Habakkuk is asking in Habakkuk 1:13. Why are you silent? Meaning, why aren't you doing anything? David prayed one time, look, yeah, I need you to do something. Otherwise, they're going to be saying, where is your God? Your God is nothing. He says, why are you silent? Why don't you do something? But what was Yah's response to them? What was Yah's response? Quickly go to Proverbs 24. Proverbs 24. And we're going to read verses 1. And we're going to go down to 19 and 20. Proverbs 24, verse 1. Yah says, this is Yah's response. Do not be envious of evildoers, neither desire to be with them. Verse 19. Go down to 19. Do not fret because of evildoers, or be envious of the wicked, for no reward shall be to the wicked. The lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Yah says, don't be envious of evil men. Don't desire to be with them. Don't be like, dang, man, the wicked, look at them prospering. I wish I could be over there with them while they over there partying it up, and look at all the lavish lifestyle. Y'all said don't desire to be with them. Don't fret, and don't be jealous of those that are wicked. He says because they don't got no reward coming. He says their lamp is going to be put out. They're a lamp with no light, with no oil in them. Now let's go back to our scriptural verse for today's lesson. Let's go back to Psalms 37, and we're going to read verses 1 through 4. And we're going to read it again. I've already read the whole chapter, but I want to go back because I'm getting ready to reveal the revelation of this scriptural verse. Psalms 37, verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 5. A psalm of David. Do not inflame yourself with evildoers, and do not be envious against workers of iniquity, for they shall soon wither like the grass and fade like the green herb. They're going to be cut down, he said, soon. Trust in Yah and do good. Live in the land and feed on faithfulness. Delight yourself in Yah, that he may give you your heart's desire. Roll on Yah, trust in him, and he will work. So you need to be committed to Yah. Commit to Yah. He's going to bring it to pass. Commit yourself to Yah, verse 5, and He is going to make it come to pass. Now, we're getting ready to get into the true understanding of Psalms 37:4. With the understanding of this chapter, because I've already read the entire chapter, what is the desires of your heart? What is the desires of your heart that Yah is talking about? What is it? What is the desires of your heart that Yah is talking about? By now, the context of this scriptural verse should be very clear, as well as many other ones. Let's go back. Let's think about David. David, what he was crying out for about the wicked. Why are they prospering? Why is it that they're in good health and they seem like they live to the end? And Job was crying out about the same thing about the wicked prospering. And Jeremiah was crying out about the same thing about the wicked prospering. And the prophet Habakkuk was crying out about the same thing about the wicked prospering and how it seems like the wicked are flourishing. Nothing is going wrong with the wicked. Just got finished reading about that. Why are you silent? Habakkuk said. Why are you silent, Yah? Why the wicked are swallowing up those that are more righteous? Why you sit back allowing your righteous people to be swallowed up? All of them were saying the same thing. David, Job, Jeremiah, Habakkuk, and many others. Yah's people saw the seemingly success and prosperity of the wicked. They were watching this. They were seeing this. This was your eyes are too pure to look upon this. They were watching this. They were seeing this. And even at the expense of the righteous. The purpose of Psalms 37:4 was to encourage those who trust in Yah. To encourage you to continue to trust in Yah, to encourage you to continue to remain on the course. No matter what you see, continue to keep your eyes on Him. Just like when Peter was walking and Yeshua was on the water and He told him to come to Him, and at first he was walking. As soon as he took his eyes off of Yeshua to look at the storm and what's going on around him, then what happened? He sunk. Again, Psalms 37:4 is to encourage you to continue to keep your trust in Yah, to remain on the course, to keep your eyes on Him and not what you see. Because the wicked will not win. If Yah's people continue to trust in and to remain committed to remain submitted to, and continue to wait on Him. When we read this whole chapter 37, Yah kept saying, wait, just a little bit longer, wait. He says, when you continue to wait on me, He said, your desire, the petition and your request for the righteous to prevail will be satisfied. I'm going to give you your desire. Their desires, the pleading and request that they petition to have Yah to repay recompense to those who were troubling them. This is what Psalms 34 and 37:4 is talking about. Yah said, vengeance is His. He said to those who delight in Him and who are waiting for Him, He said, I will give you the desires of your heart. You got to wait. They were desiring that Yah would handle the wicked that were oppressing them, afflicting them. The wicked that they had to continuously watch flourishing and prospering and doing well at the hands of His righteous servants. That's why when you read this whole chapter, you see what's truly going on. It's talking about the prospering of wicked evildoers at the hands of righteous servants. When are you going to see about us? And what about our cause? Kumbaya. We're being oppressed. Yah says, wait. All right, we're back. So I'm hoping that that was a quick that was just a brief 10, 11 minute snippet from the desires of Psalms 37. For those of you who did not catch that entire broadcast teaching, you definitely want to go back to learn the truth of what that scriptural verse means, because the Christian churches are using it in a way to gain money out of people. It's not talking about money, as you just heard. And so if you want to catch that entire teaching, you can go to our Daughter Yah channel. It's Desires of Psalms 37 and 4. I believe it's either I think it's the 30th or 30. I think it's the 30th or 130th or 132nd show. It's one of those, but just go through and check that out. So just continuing with that, if we can just quickly go to Revelation 6, 9 through 11, because in Revelation 6, verses 9 through 11, in addition to Job and David and Jeremiah and Habakkuk, we find that there are others who also have the same desires as those that were just mentioned in the audio clip that we just listened to. In Revelation 6, 9 through 11, it reads, "And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of Yah and for the witness which they had. And they cried out with a great voice." And it says they cried out, okay, with a great voice, saying, "Until when, like how long, set apart and true Master Yah, do you not judge and take vengeance for our blood?" So they're crying from the ground. They're still crying out, and they're not even alive anymore. They're still crying out. When are you going to judge those that killed us while we was dwelling on the earth? They're crying out the same thing that Job and Habakkuk and Jeremiah and David was crying out in Psalms 37 and 4. We see the same thing in what Yah tell them in Revelation 6, verse 11. And it says there was given to each one a white robe, and it was said to them that they should what? Rest a little time. Same thing. You got to wait. Why? He says that the time might be fulfilled for the number of your fellow servants and brethren who are about to be killed. So we had to wait. Everything that Yah is going to do is going to be at an appointed time. The scoffers scoff, "Oh, well, where is he? Where is your God? Where's the promise of his coming?" Like they said in 2 Peter 3 and 4. Where is he? I thought you said he was coming. Yah said that he is patient. Remember that. He said he is patient. He is not lacking in his promises. Everything that he said is going to come to pass. He says, don't count me waiting, me being patient as being negligent or lacking. He said, I'm being patient towards you because he said, it is not my desire that any of you perish, but that you will all come to repentance. So when hell opens up her gates, and if you're sent away by Yeshua, you're going to be there because you deserve to be there. You're going to deserve to be there. No one is going to be there that didn't deserve it because you scoffed him while you were living. You sat in the seat of the scornful. You stood in the way of sinners, and you took counsel from the ungodly, those who are not of Yah. That's why he tells you in Romans 6, what fruit did you reap at the time from the things that now you're ashamed of? How many of you now are ashamed of the things that you once did when you were a slave to sin? Paul says in Romans 6, what fruit did you reap at that time? You didn't reap anything. He says, for the wages of sin is death. The outcome of those things, he says, is death. And while you're doing it, although sin may seem fun now, just like you heard in the audio clip, it may seem fun now, it may seem right now, but he tells you in Proverbs 14:12, there's a way that seems right to man, but in the end is a way of death. Says the same thing in Proverbs 16:25. There is a way that seems right to man, but its end is the way of death. Our Messiah, he describes the end of days. Go to Matthew 24. Go to Matthew 24. Because it's funny how everybody believes in the Bible. They say they believe in the word. But it's funny how everyone believes in the Bible until it speaks against their choice of behavior or until it speaks against their lifestyle. Then all of a sudden they don't believe. You believe when you thought that you could pick and choose how you wanted to live in the Bible, and you found out that there were requirements. See, Pastor Porkchop is not going to tell you. He's not going to tell you the truth. So Matthew 24, we're going to read verses 1 through 14. Matthew 24, because we're almost done. And going out, Yeshua left the sanctuary, and his disciples came to show him the construction of the sanctuary. But Yeshua said to them, do you not see all these things? He says, truly I say to you, there will not at all be left one stone on a stone, which in no way that will not be thrown down. And as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be, and what is the sign of your coming at the end of this age? So they want to know, how are we going to know when it's time for you to return? How is it going to be in the end days? And so Yeshua answers them in verse 4, and he said, see that no man deceives you. So we see right off the bat, Yeshua warns them before he tells them anything. Let no man deceive you. Because if you can deceive you, it's because you choose to be. He says, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they will cause many to be deceived. For you are bound to hear of the revolutions and rumors of wars. Watch out and do not be disturbed, for it is necessary that all these things happen. Yet the end is not, but it is not yet the end. Isn't that what Trump said? All these things, this must happen. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and plagues and earthquakes against many places. For all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to affliction and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. And then many shall be offended. He says many will be offended. Many will be offended. Matthew 24:10, he says that many will be offended, and they will deliver up one another and will hate one another. And many false prophets will be raised and will deceive many. And because lawlessness shall have been multiplied, which we see that today, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end, that one will have eternal life. And the good news of the kingdom shall be published in all the earth for a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So the end is not going to come until this testimony is being preached. We're part of that. Every time we come before you every week, we're part of that testimony. So I want to pay close attention to when we were reading Matthew 24, where Yeshua said in verse 10 that many will be offended. I want to explain that. The Blue Letter Bible, in the context in which it's being spoken, to be offended in one, it says is to see in another what I disapprove of. To see in another what I disapprove of and what hinders me from acknowledging his authority. It also means to put a stumbling block or impediment in the way upon which another may trip and fall. A metaphor to offend also means to cause to fall away, figuratively to stumble, or to entice to sin. It says to be displeased. So many will be offended. There will be many who will look at you because they see in you what they disapprove of, and that it hinders them from acknowledging the authority of Yah. Okay. I want to read a couple examples of both of these versions of offend, because in addition to meaning to be displeased or to disapprove of, it also means a stumbling block, and also which it says a metaphor to cause to fall away. So Yeshua's first example, if you can quickly go to Matthew 5:29 and 30. Matthew 5:29 and 30. It says, if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out. I'm going to read this again. Yeshua said in Matthew 5:29, if your right eye offend you, pluck it out and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of your members should perish and not your whole body should be cast into hell. And if your right eye offend you, cut it off and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of your members should perish and not that your whole body should be cast into hell. So if your right eye offend you, is it talking about to disapprove or to be displeased you? Well, of course, you need your eyeballs to see, don't you? So you got to take this in the context in which it's being spoken, because I just read two different versions, two different definitions for offend. This is speaking to putting a stumbling block in your way, something that is causing you to fall away, something that's tripping you up, something that's causing you to stumble. I just got finished reading this. It says if your right eye offends you, meaning if it is going to put a stumbling block in your way, if it is going to cause you to fall away, if it's going to trip you up, if it's going to cause you to stumble, because of course your right eye doesn't displease you. So this is not that definition. But if it's causing you to stumble, then he says get rid of it, because it's better if you go into hell with one eye than going there with two eyes in your whole body and you in hell. That's the first example for offend. The second example I'm going to give you, Yeshua's second example for offend, is coming from Matthew 13, 18 through 21. This version is speaking of offend in the context of to be displeased. Not to put a stumbling block, but to be displeased. Go to Matthew 13, verses 18 through 21. Matthew 13, verse 18. Hear you, therefore, the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and understands it not, then here comes the wicked one who comes to take away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receives the seed by the wayside. It's talking about this. So this is the parable of the seed sower. And it said, but he that receives the seed in a stony ground, the same is he that hears the word, then you receive it. So if you receive the seed, which is the word, and it falls on stony ground, these are those, he says in verse 20, who hear the word, then you receive it with joy. So you hear it, and like many of our brothers who heard this truth, they like, oh wow, I'm excited with it. We're the true people. The Israelites were the true people, chosen people of Yah. They were excited. They received it with joy. And do you know how many people since I've been in this walk, now they have turned away because they were offended because of it? Because it says in verse 21, yet hath he not rooted himself. So because this person who received the word on stony ground, it didn't take root. He says this person endured for a while. It says, but when tribulation or persecution came, okay, because of the word, they were offended because of the word. It says he is offended. This is what I call the leafy Hebrew. They accepted him. They believed. They were excited. They had joy in their heart, just like that Pastor Omar. The one that said if you were to keep the law, you will be a cult. His people in the congregation were beginning to embrace the Israelite religion, or not religion, but the culture itself. They came that next Sabbath because he told them they're the chosen people. They came wearing tassels. Then he basically stumped all on their hearts, like, hey, y'all going too far. You know, if you were to keep the law, you would be in a cult. How can you tell them that they're Israel and then turn around and tell them that they will be in a cult if they kept the law, when the law is your life, the law is your salvation? But when tribulation or persecution arose, see, they were persecuted by their own so-called pastor. Because of the word, they were offended. See, some people, they can receive this truth. They've heard it. They accepted it. They were excited about it. As soon as they got persecuted on their job, got persecuted by family members and friends, now they're offended because of it. Now they don't want nothing to do with it. This is to be displeased. This is the offend, according to the Blue Letter Bible, the other offend, that means to be displeased. Now they're displeased by it. Precept, Matthew 11:6 says, blessed is the one who is not offended by me, a.k.a. blessed is the one who does not fall away because of me, because of my word. I wanted to give you both versions of many will be offended that Yeshua spoke about in Matthew 24, and then I wanted to give you at least two. I gave you three witnesses, because I gave you three different scriptures that showed you both sides of what it means when he says to be offended. That means either a stumbling block or to be displeased. So I gave you both. The book of Jude, and if you have the Hebrew roots like me, then it says Judah. But the book of Jude describes the last days as well. In fact, he's one of the last epistles to be written in the New Testament. And he is definitely, when you read that one chapter, he's warning the people of Yah to stay on course, to stay on the course of righteousness and to continue following the road of life that had been revealed to you. That's what Yah told me, which is in our Master Yeshua, because we know that Yeshua is the way of Yah. There is no other way. And if you try to come in another way, what did I say earlier? You're a thief and a robber. And so let's quickly go to Jude, because we're trying to wrap this up. Let's go to Jude. If you have your Hebrew Roots Bible, it's Judah. And it's in the New Testament. So Jude chapter 1, beginning at verse 17. But you, beloved, remember the words spoken by the apostles of our Master Yeshua Messiah, because they told you, he said they told you that in the last days that there will be mockers following wickedness according to their lust. These are they setting themselves apart. See, they're setting themselves apart, but they are sitting in the seat of the scornful. This is what this means in verse 19. They set themselves apart. They're sitting in the seat of the scornful. These are the people that they company and dwell themselves with. They're not sitting and being set apart with the righteous, but with the wicked. They sit in the seat of the scornful. In my source, these are they who are scornful, who sit in the seat of the scornful. These are they setting themselves apart, animal-like ones, not having the spirit. But you, beloved, building yourselves up by your most set-apart faith, praying in the set-apart spirit, keeping yourselves in the love of Yah, eagerly awaiting the mercy of our Master Yeshua Messiah to everlasting life, and pity some. It says, making a distinction, I'm going to talk about. Now he says to pity some, making a distinction. He said, but saving others with fear, snatching them out of the fire, hating even the garments being stained from the flesh. Now to him being able to keep you without stumbling. I'm going to say that again. Now to him who is able to keep you from stumbling, him who is able to keep you from being offended, and to set you before his high esteem without blemish, with unspeakable joy, to the only wise Yah, our Savior through Yeshua Messiah, our Master, be glory, or high esteem, majesty, might, and authority, even now and forever. So be it. So in verse 22 and 23, Jude is telling us that as a believer, just going back to where it says making a distinction in Jude 1, or Judah, if you have a Hebraic roots, Jude 1 and 22. Verse 22 and 23, and Jude is telling us that as a believer, we must discern who can and cannot be helped. That discernment, wisdom will give you. You know, who can and who cannot be helped. But at the same time, Jude is telling you that decision must be made in haste. This must be something that's made quickly so as to not be affected by it. Because as much as we want to, we can't save everybody. And Yah, I told you the last few shows, Yah has been showing me you're not going to be able to save everybody because I have been grieved. He said, I know your heart towards me. I know the love you have towards me. You're not going to be able, no matter how great of a teaching you teach and how much you tell people, they're not going to listen if they don't belong to me. So you have to use wisdom. You have to discern. Remember, we learned discern means to shema. Remember that? That's a direct link to discern according to the blue letter Bible. It means to shema, to obey. You must discern who can and cannot be helped. But at the same time, you can't allow them to linger with you. That decision has to be made quickly so that you won't be affected by it. That's what Job is saying right here. Some you will be able to, with fear, be able to snatch them out of fire because you hate their garments being stained from the flesh. That the garments we talked about last week, the stained garment, the garments that will not be approved of. Talking about the righteousness. But it's not a decision where you can be slow and stagnant and drag your feet and just continue to remain with those who stand in the way of sinners and sit in the seat of the scornful. You can't drag your feet. You have to make a decision. You have to, what Jude is saying, you have to use wisdom. Okay, you have to discern. Okay, wisdom is a ruach. Who can and who cannot be helped. And you can't do that on your own. Wisdom will lead you to all truth and will help you in your decision making. But it has to be a decision that's quick so as that you're not affected. Because y'all say you will not have peace and you will not be blessed as long as you remain among those who take advice from the ungodly, who stand in the way of sinners, and who sit in the seat of the scornful. You're going to be affected by it. You can't be around fire and then say, I'm not going to get burned. You see, for many of them, family, friends, people you talk to, the scornful, those who are scorning him, their real anger is directed at Yah. Yah of the scriptures, who is all sovereign. Yah who created this world by his spoken word. That's who their real anger is at. It's directed at Yah. The same power who destroyed those who lived during the time of Noah, when he destroyed them by a watery deluge. And the same power who is going to one day soon judge again by fire. And so I say all this to say is that we have to remember everything that we're being told about how things will be in these last days and how bad it is going to become, so that we can avoid being too disheartened and avoid being too grieved at what we're seeing, because it's hard. And I get it, because I'm feeling that way. And Yah is showing me, I don't want you to be grieved like this, because I'm telling you, I'm already warning you in the word. This must happen. This is what's going to happen. This is how bad it's going to get. And I'm fighting this struggle every day. When I'm feeling like I'm fighting a lost battle, sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a lost battle when it comes to some people. I do, because it's plain to us. But when it's not plain to our loved ones, our family members, our friends, when you're trying to just, like just teaching these lessons like I do weekly, praying that someone gets it. Again, sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a lost battle when it comes to some people who just plain, they don't want to change. And Yah has shown me you have to accept that. And so we, as his true followers, we have to accept where people choose to be. Because ultimately, whether we want to accept it or not, by the way they live and the choices that they make, the people around us are showing us where they want to be and who they are choosing to serve. And again, we have to accept that because Yah has. And like we said last week, shake the dust off and keep it moving after you've already told them. And so we're just keeping us in perspective of what the scriptures have said. Let us remember this, because we will never, ever, no matter how hard we try, we will never be able to change the minds of those who oppose the truth, because Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life. If they are opposed to truth, they oppose Yeshua. If they oppose Yeshua, they oppose the Father, because he that does not have the Father does not have the Son, because no man comes to the Father but through him. So they're making their choice. We have to accept, and that's what Yah was showing me. You have to accept the choice that people are choosing. They're making their choice on who they want to be, who they want to serve. It's their prerogative, and you have to accept it. You can't browbeat people. You can't do it. Yah said don't rebuke a scorner, because they're going to hate you. So when you're trying to tell your brothers and your sisters and your family members and your friends and your coworkers you love them, you're trying to tell them over and over, I want you to stop fornicating. I want you to stop lying. I want you to stop stealing. I want you to accept. You can't make anybody accept Yah. Yah says don't reprove a scorner. In Proverbs 5, if you go to Proverbs 15 and 2, Yah says a scorner will not love the one that reproves him. Neither will he go unto the wise. A scorner is not going to seek counsel from the wise. You're looking at it in Proverbs 15 and 2. He says a scorner is going to go and seek ungodly counsel. Jeremiah 15 and 17 says, Jeremiah said, I sat not in the assembly of mockers. See, Yah says that you will not be blessed if you sit in the seat of scorners. That's the seat is a symbol that you where you dwelling with these people. Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 15 and 7, he said, I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoice. He said, I sat alone because of thy hand. You see, this is righteous anger. There is such a thing as righteous anger. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to have righteous anger, but we can't sin. We can't continue to remain in the company and the assembly of those who continue to mock and scorn Yah to his face. And some of these people are your very people who are probably in your household right now. Proverbs 13 and 1, a wise son hears his father's instructions, but a scorner hears not rebuke. He told you in Proverbs 15 and 2, a scorner will not love the one that reproves him. You can sit up and try to reprove your family members and friends and loved ones all you like. If they don't want Yah, if they're scorners and they want to stand with the way of sinners, there's nothing that you can do about it. So stop beating yourself over the head about it. Stop being grieved about it. You can't beat them over the head, because they're going to end up hating you, and then you wonder why your own family don't like you, why they don't want to talk to you, why they don't want to be around you. You know why they don't want to be around you? You should be saying, all praises be to the Most High that you don't want to hang out with me, that you don't want to go anywhere with me. You know why? Because he says that you will not be blessed when you assemble with those who stand in the way of sinners. This is their thinking, what they agree with, and those who sit in the seat of the scornful, dwelling with them. You're not going to be able to do it. This lesson I'm hoping this is going to be an eye-opener for a lot of us, and for a lot of us who are not only listening now, but those who will be listening once this audio broadcast is done teaching. Many of you are standing in the way of sinners and sitting in the seat of the scornful, and you probably never even knew the true understanding of what Psalms 1:1 is saying. Proverbs 14:9 says, fools make a mockery at sin, but among the righteous ones there is favor. So again, reading Proverbs 15:2 again. A scorner does not love the one that reproves him, and neither will he go unto the wise. Again, a scorner will not go and seek wise counsel. They're going to go and seek ungodly counsel. They're going to go and seek counsel or advice from someone that they know will agree with their foolishness and their wickedness. They're not going to come to you. I've had people come around me and change their conversation because they know I'm not in agreement with it. They'll go and whisper off to someone else who's going to agree with their sin. They won't go to one who is wise and who will tell them the truth. You were wrong. They're not going to go to them because they don't want to hear they was wrong. They want to hear God knows your heart. They want to hear, oh, it's okay. What did Yah say about Israel? Didn't he say that they will tell the prophets to prophesy lies and tell them smooth things? That's what they want to hear. They want to go to someone past the pork chop who's going to tell them that that he don't pay it all and you can do whatever you want, that he nailed the law to the cross. That's who they want to get their counsel from. They want to get their counsel from someone who say that every day is the Sabbath. That's who they want their counsel from. They want their counsel from someone who tells them that it's now okay to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. That's who they want their counsel from. They don't want it from you because you're a thorn in their side. Every time they look at you, they are offended. Like Yeshua said, blessed is the one who is not offended by me. I'm not talking about displeased, but they look at you and they see in you what they do not approve of. And they could be sitting there calling themselves a believer and follower of Yah, but because you stand for truth, they're going to look at you and see in you what they disapprove of. They are offended by you. Those who live an ungodly life are offended by us. I know that I offend many people on Facebook with my posts. I know that I'm probably offending many people who listening to this audio broadcast and will listen later. Yeshua says, blessed is he who is not offended by me, by his word. All I'm giving you is what the words say. It's not me. If you're offended by the word. You're offended by Yeshua, and then you need to check yourself and see, hey, I need to check my thinking. Am I standing with in the way of sinners? Is my thinking like them? Because why am I offended by truth? Why am I offended by the word? He says judgments are prepared for the scorners and stripes for the backs of fools. They got many stripes coming. Proverbs 24:9, the thoughts, I'm getting ready to call pregnant, the thoughts of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. Being around the scorner, y'all say, is an abomination to you. He says a scorner is an abomination to men. This is the last scripture I'm going to read before I call Prina in. Quickly go to Psalms 140. Psalms 140. And we're going to read 1 through 13, and then I'm going to call in Prina. Psalms 140. A psalm of David. O Yah, deliver me from the evil man. Keep me from the violent man, who devises evil things in the heart. All the day they stir up wars. They sharpen their tongues like a snake. Adder's poison is under their lips. Selah. O Yah, keep me from the hands of the wicked. Keep me from the violent man who plots to trip up my steps. The proud have hidden cords and set a trap for me. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set snares for me. Selah. I said to Yah, you are my power, O Yah. Give ear to the voice of my prayers. O Yah, Most High, the strength of my salvation. You have covered my head in the day of armor. O Yah, do not grant the desires of the wicked. I'm going to say this again. O Yah, do not grant the desires of the wicked. Do not promote his plans unless they be exalted. Selah. As for the leaders of those around me, let the evil of their own lips cover them. Let burning coals fall on them. Let them fall on the cords of fire. Make them fall into deep pits so that they do not rise again. Do not let a man of tongue be established in the earth. Evil shall hunt the violent man, thrust upon thrust. I know that Yah will maintain the cause of the afflicted and the justice of the poor. Surely the righteous shall give thanks to your name. The upright shall dwell in your presence. So David was crying out to Yah, and he was praying this prayer. Pray this prayer against your enemies, against those who are afflicted and oppressing you. We have a right to pray against the wicked. We need to truly understand what he's talking about. Pray for your enemies. What is he really talking about? I'm gonna have to do a lesson on that, because clearly David is crying out. He's not praying for his enemies. He's praying against them, for Yah to deal with them. So I might have to do a lesson on that, because and as I've been sharing with Sister Vicky and Prina, is we got to be more intentional in our prayers and being direct and using the word, which is the sword. This is how David killed Goliath, the giant. This is how Yeshua destroyed all those of Satan's kingdom at his coming with his army, with the sword, that came from his mouth. We have power with this word. This word is our sword. He said, David said to Goliath, you come with a sword, but I come with the word of Yah. That is our sword. That is our power. We need to begin to pray and start quoting scripture back to Yah in prayer and being more intentional and ignite the power that he has given to us. His word is spirit and it is life. It is life. And now, at that time, I'm reading Daniel 12:1, and I'm calling Prina in. The great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people will arise, and there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. And at that time, your people, everyone who is found written in the book, will be rescued, will be saved. Prina, you can come in. I'm opening up the lines. If anyone has any questions or comments about today's teaching, anything new you learned, you can just press *6 on your phone. Prina, are you in?
Yes, I'm in, sis.
Okay. You can go ahead and add your comments
Well, I mean, I really, truly love the thorough breakdown of the three main points made in Psalms 1 and 1. I mean, you know, I really, really, really get the full understanding of what it means, you know, to the counsel of the ungodly and sitting in the seats of the sinner, standing in the way of the sinner, and sitting in the seat of the scorner. And I mean, what I really loved about it is the progression that you the progression that you showed from going from the innocent to going into a full-fledged sinner, like just showing you how you first start out just lending your ear, listening to the counsel of the wicked. So then, as you listening, eventually, if you continue to listen, you're going to alter your view of thinking, which is going to lead to you standing in the way of sinners, and tolerating those sins that you once hated.
Yep, that's true.
And then going from there, just being a mocker and a blasphemer, and ultimately perishing. So, I mean, I really love the breakdown and the definitions that you gave to help give good illustration, is also the, talking about what it really means to be offended, and how, it's two ways to be offended. Either it's a stumbling block to you or it displeases you. So I really love those two illustrations. And not only that, just bringing back the desires of your heart, and how the prophets cried out, wanting to know how long Yah was going to wait. And, it's just letting you know that you can't be discouraged, but you just have to continue and endure to the end. Everything happens at His time and His purpose, and you can't lose sight of the mark, and that is, the Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? And
the redemption too.
Yes, that's coming along with
the redemption.
When He comes, and so that's what really, really stood out, is just the thorough breakdown, because I think sometimes we know what certain things are, but just to get a full understanding.
I didn't know what any of that meant, and I had a total, only one I knew was the first one. I had no clue. It was totally different from what I thought.
That's what I'm saying.
I had the understanding of the first one, the counsel of the ungodly, but the standing in the way of sinners, I thought that was complete. It was actually the opposite of what I thought, and I didn't have a full understanding of sitting in the seat of scorn. So I didn't have that until I actually studied it.
Yeah, and so, and that's why I said that's what, because like I said, some things you understood and then some things you didn't quite understand. And so, like me too, I did, I thought that standing in the seat of sinners was the opposite of what you presented. And
you talking about standing in the way of sinners?
Yeah, standing in the way of sinners was opposite from what you presented. And how it changes your view to tolerate and agree with the sinners. And so this was a thorough lesson, and and it's just good to understand, like, these three main points leads to the things that Yah hate, and it's an abomination to you. So, I mean, we got to constantly examine our ways, and this lesson surely helped you to identify the progression of how lending your ear can turn into you turning into someone sitting in the seat of the scorner. And so
this was even more confirmation. I'm going to bring in Sister Vicky, because I think she has something. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, just quickly, this kind of just made me just think about even as far as the churches and just sitting there where they dwell in, and because these are people who are mocking Him and scorning Him every week, and and just even being around people that are doing it. It's just kind of like your circle gets smaller of people that you're around, and that includes family members and friends, because I think people really do not get it that, it's like, okay, but this is my mother, or this is my father, or this is, like, I've known people where they said, y'all told them, like, you could go away. Because Abraham had to leave his father because he was wicked. So it doesn't matter.
Shabbat shalom, you guys.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
You're making me cry.
What?
Oh, my goodness. This is so personal. So personal. When you broke down Psalms 1:1, it is just, I feel like it's something that I'm definitely going through myself. And you just have to be able to discern spirits. And like you said, we're going to get persecuted. And people are going to hate us, people that you love.
Yeah.
And we're going to just be alone. I was today, you're always confirming something that I have read just before you start.
Wow. That's the Ruach.
Jeremiah had a complaint in verse 15, and he says, he's talking to Yah, remember me and visit me and take vengeance for me on these who persecute me. And your patience, do not take me away, because he knew what was getting ready to come upon. Either Israel, this probably was Yehuda, know that for you I have suffered reproach. Your words were found, and I ate them. And your word was to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. Your name is called on me. But people who are around you, who you think are in the belief with you, it's not like that. It's not like that at all.
No, I'm finding that more and more.
Says, therefore, thus said, he says, he says, I stand alone. I decide I'm by myself. Family have left, friends have left, and I'm alone, but I'd rather be alone than to be with the mockers.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to continue to seek the truth and righteousness and the shalom of Yah, and I'm going to dust my hands off and just keep it moving. Because at the end it says, if you turn back, then I shall bring you back. And they shall fight against you, but not overcome you. For I am with you to save you and deliver you, declares Yah.
Hallelujah.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did this lesson, I definitely wasn't having you all in mind. It was just this was a lesson I was led, because I was, again, Israel shall be redeemed is still there, and I know it's coming, but, this was like what I was led to do. And just understanding this is kind of like, showing me you can only do your part. You can only be the watchman, and that's all you're required to be. You can't save anyone. You don't have the ability or the power to save. But once you have done your part, the blood is not on your hand. And then they're making the choice. Like I said, they are making the choice. Y'all showed me you have to accept the choice that they are making. They are, he said, I have made myself known to them, and they still want to take ungodly counsel. They still want to stand in the way of sinners. And now they're fully in the seat of the scornful. And you have to accept that. And it hurts because they're your loved ones, they're your family, they're your mother, your sister, your brother, your husband, your cousin. They're people you love, they're dear to you. Yeah. And it hurts. It's not no easy task, but it's what Yah says. You are not going to have peace if you are around these people, if you are listening and taking advice from these people, if you allow these people to change your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because eventually, just like you've had that, I've seen just like with people, one person, this happened to me on my job, one person just did not like me, and this person, you know why, was offended at me because of the word. This person was talking to me and was seemed like they were cool with me, and then as soon as I had, shared the truth, the Yah with them, right then, I'm telling you, that next day, everything changed. They were offended because of the word, because of the truth, and this person stopped talking to me, really was, they changed their whole disposition towards me. They got other people to stop talking to me that was talking to me. Nobody was speaking to me anymore. It was just a lot of, it was a lot of stress. Prina know all about it. It was a lot of stress that went on because of that, and so I understand personally.
What do they say? Leave me alone. I want to be my own judge. They tell you.
Yeah, they want to be their own judge. Like I said, they want to be their own judge.
They don't want to go any higher with you.
No.
They want to go just enough so that their own flesh is satisfied. And that's it. And so
that's true.
They hate you because you want the higher things. You want more.
Yeah.
But
a lot of times it's just because, and I've had this happen, when people look at you, they see what in you, what they disapprove of, but they'll be saying, "Oh, I'm a believer. Oh, I love him." But no, you know how many people in Israel? Do you understand how many people in Israel? Prina has been pretty much with me throughout this walk, and how many times, Prina, you've been around where people, the so-called brothers and sisters, I have found it very difficult to bond with the women in Israel, and I'm going to be honest with you, and a lot of it has been jealousy. A lot of it has been envy. I've had people talk about my gifts and say, "Oh, I wish I taught like you, blah, 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 or I can teach like..." I get it all the time, but these are the same people who are saying they're Israel, they're Shalom, and they're Canaan, they're wrapping their heads, they're acting like they're in the truth, but behind closed doors, they're hating their brother or sister without a cause. Haven't done anything to them, you know what I'm saying? But when Yah gives you gifts and you are coveting other people's gifts, or you see in them, because anyone who truly knows me know that I strive for righteousness. I'm not saying that I am without sin or I have not done anything wrong. I struggle daily, just like everybody else, to try to stay on the right side of the tracks. But most people who are very close to me, truly know the love that I have for Yah. You know, like, I'm not putting these lessons together and it's I take time to truly come before you all each and every week. I try to put together the best teaching possible, not so that I can be glorified and highly esteemed, but so that my Father, Yah, can be high esteemed, and so that his people who are listening can be edified, can be built up, can grow in the faith, and be able to go and teach other people what they have learned. I'm about Yah's business. I'm about the kingdom. I put in the work to do this. This is not something that it's just... And the last one, I think it was because I had a lot going on that week. But for the most part, I'm going hard all week trying to put these teachings together, and it come off like, oh, this was easy. But it's not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of studying and
on top of your full-time job and your child. I can imagine.
And so a lot of people envy it, and they don't understand all that it takes to put this together. And so I get it. I understand. When people look at you, they're looking at what they see, and sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'm not there yet, and they're displeased, and so they hate you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to be around you. But Yah says that he doesn't want you dwelling with them.
Right. Praise God.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm learning, too, Shatan, because, he's been dealing with me with, with my children and stuff like that. So, I mean, and you brought that to me with not having peace and being blessed, and I had to make some changes in my own household. And so, it may hurt as a, because especially as a parent when you give birth and, and you want to see them not perish. But at the end of the day, they got to want it too, and you can't force it, And so that's what I'm learning to deal with, and not, and not allow my spirit to be at unrest with it, and I have to just put my trust in Yah and allow him to do the rest. I've set the examples, and and when you come, just gave me confirmation that, you can't worry about what your past, you've turned away from, I've turned away from
sin. And you've been a wonderful example to your children and your family and everyone around you. You've been a wonderful example, and that's all you can do. We all have a past. All of us. You know what I'm saying? But it's about once you turn to Yah, you didn't turn back. You've been that example. You've done all you can. You have to accept the choices that they're making. They're choosing where they want to be, who they want to serve, and ultimately their fate. All you can do is continue to pray for them, but you have to shake the dust off and keep it moving. We got plenty of people who are counting on us week after week. I read the messages. You don't know how blessed I have been since I've been listening to you. You don't know how much I've learned from you. Keep bringing these lessons. Oh, you have been a blessing. We get these every week.
Yeah.
I get emails all the time from people. We're doing the work. Concentrate and let that be your joy, that you are making a difference in those who are listening.
Praise God. That's true. Tree, you're adding to the tree of life.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. We're the fruit of the righteous. That's what it is, to add to the tree of life, to Yeshua. We are here for his sake. He is not dead. He is alive, and so he's alive through us.
Totally,
That's our purpose. That's our mission, and I'm staying focused. I know that.
Well, I'm glad this lesson was a blessing to you both. I mean, it wasn't for you. So please, it wasn't. And all my lessons are Yah Ruach led, and that's just the way it is. So maybe that was something that he wanted for both of you to hear.
It was right on time. I mean, right on time.
Because me and Vicky both been dealing with it, and so you've been a righteous counsel, okay? And I'm not saying that in a joking way, because we cry at your But it's good. It's a blessing when you have righteous counsel, and we our struggles with one another. And we get righteous counsel instead of that, godly counsel. And so it's a blessing when you truly have someone in your life, because there's a lot of people that don't have that righteous counsel. But the best thing about it, if you don't have that righteous counsel, you have Yah's word. And that's the best counsel of any counsel.
Yes, it is.
And so, I'm just being encouraged. That's, what I'm saying to the listeners, be encouraged, if you're going through what me and Sister Vicky is going through as far as, with your family members, your loved ones. Mine is mostly my children. Because my family, I already just put them on the back burner because I already know where they at. But when it's your children that you birthed,
it's more personal.
A little harder. And so now I have to do what y'all told me to do. Because he's been working on me in this area. And so, and I've done it. My son no longer lives with me. And so.
Your daughter moved out?
Yeah. So, I'm work in progress. And I told him, I came to him, and I said, you bringing curses upon me.
No, you did not tell them that.
And I can't.
You told them that, Prina?
Crouching at my door.
You told them?
I told him that.
Oh, my goodness, no, you didn't. I can't believe you told them that.
Yeah, I told him. I said,
I think it's helping them.
And my son, when y'all made a move for him, I said, going out, because he went to live with his dad in Ohio. And I said, you going out on a humbug, and you already know that relationship is parasitic. And you brought to my mind, Shatan, you said, what you say to me? You said, sometimes you just have to let it go and let him find his way.
Right,
exactly. And so y'all open that door, leave it closed when he wants it closed. So he did. When he went out, when he was moving and I was talking about him going on a humbug, he said, Mama, you was the one told me I had to get out. I was causing curses to fall upon you. So he brought it to me, and it was just really y'all giving me confirmation that it's time to let him go, And so sometimes we don't want to do things or make decisions like that, but when Yah is warning you and you don't take heed, you never know what's up the road ahead. And it could be detrimental to you, or someone in your family, you allowing this wickedness to be in your house.
Yeah. Karina, I was going to the park today. I listened to most of your message in the park. It's a beautiful day. I was walking and
it is beautiful.
So on the way there, I saw, how you have the guy standing at the corner with the signs, advertising something's open or tax season or whatever, and it's usually black men, or men of Yehuda. To me, that's what I always see. And I'm just thinking, how long is it going to take for our people to seek Yah, to get something better? You know what I'm saying? To do better than standing in front on the corner. It's better. It's some money. It is some money, but we should be able to do better. And I guess what I'm trying to say is we have to humble ourselves and seek Yah with everything that's in us so that we can get to righteousness, so he can tell us what wisdom is so we can do better. We're never going to do better if we don't seek him, and we're never going to have peace.
No, and we can seek him all day and night too. You got to remember that too. But if you don't walk in obedience to what he's telling you,
you will never
and unctioning you to do, it's still as rebellion. So
you won't have wisdom because he gives a spirit to those that obey. His spirit is wisdom, so you won't have it if you're not obeying him. So it starts with.
So if you don't seek him wholeheartedly, you got to walk it out and be obedient to what he's directing you to do.
Sick of that. Hopefully, when they get sick of the slavery that we're experiencing here in Babylon, they'll finally humble themselves. All of us
they'll be like the prodigal son and come back.
But you got to remember, some of them don't even believe they enslaved. They don't believe.
How low you have to go? How low do you have to go?
They think they free. But this was a wonderful lesson, Shatan. I really, love to break down. I got clarity in what it means to stand in a sinner's way and the seat of the scorner. I knew they were mockers and blasphemers, but just the in depth of it all, and just the progression. I really loved the progression from going from innocent to a full-fledged sinner.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. And next week, I think I have next week's lesson. I think I do, but you never know. I might get some change midweek. So, thank you, Sister Vicky, for calling in.
Okay, praise Yah. Are we going to get something to eat? Well, call me later.
I'll call you.
Okay, shalom.
Okay, man. Hello. All right. So, Prina, I'm going to have you lead us out with prayer.
Okay. All right. 1 Chronicles 29, verse 10 through 13, and verse 18. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, "Blessed are you, O Yah, the power of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the high esteem and the victory and the majesty, for all in the heavens and the earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom. You lift up yourself to all as head, and the riches and the honor come before you, and you rule over all, and in your hand is power and might. It's in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now our power, we are giving thanks and praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers. Keep this forever for the intent of the thoughts of the heart of your people, and prepare their heart towards you. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
In Yeshua's name, so be it. So
yes,
we want to
thank you. I got
a
little tongue tied right there.
Oh, no, that's okay. I don't have to plenty of times, okay?
All right.
Well, we thank you all for joining us and try to get out and enjoy the rest. I mean, don't break the Sabbath because the sun isn't gone down, but just sometimes I do like to just sit, on the porch and just read the word.
Yeah.
Weather is really nice. I'm just looking forward to spring because this winter with the snow and the flu and all that, oh my goodness.
And our time has our Sabbath now is a little longer to 7:40.
Yeah, so well, we pray that you will enjoy the rest of today's Sabbath.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
you.